Are live.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to DGG Presents Holdfast Station Part 2. Now we've done our work with the tech gods, and everything's going to work well tonight. We've switched back to a different system as well, so that should also help. So we're going to let Michael introduce and give a quick little, this is what the game is, this is me, in case you didn't join us last time, and then we're just going to dive right in where we left off.
Heck yeah.
Right on. I'm Michael. You can find me at luckoflegends.com. Holdfast Station is a zero prep game about community survival in the far reaches of space. It walks you right through. There's absolutely nothing that you need to do. There's a script. You read it and you play through. Everything's right there. It also was built during the pandemic, so it's got lots of digital tools. It's not out yet, although there is a beta playtest that's up on my itch page, so luckoflegends.itch.io, and we're ready to play because last session they built the world and their characters on the fly. So step one, if y'all are ready, is I want to read through the agreements about the station that you created, the Holdfast, this asteroid mine at the very far reaches of the known universe. Because, we want to up the drama. Let's go. So I'm going to start with, I don't know, Jesse, you want to fire this up? Our first agreement, how long have we been here?
We've been here way too long. Kind of to the point where we're really not making money. We're just having a rough go.
Yeah, I think my favorite part that you guys established was that it's actually the case that we're behind on the quota and we get further behind on the quota every year. So it's not just that we've been here a long time, it's that there seems to be no end in sight. Every year it's like, okay, we're going to make our quota and every year we're further behind. So there's this also impending sense of doom you created because you went with a dark Holdfast where it was like, yeah, not only have we been here longer than we've planned, it doesn't seem likely to ever end. Which brings us to, what's the big upcoming event? Let's do Don.
All right. So the big upcoming event is every year. Let's see, the arrival, where we try to prepare for the big data review, and it's usually like this bittersweet celebratory moment.
Bitter, definitely. I love that you created the hope, though. Literally every year, everybody gets stoked. They're like, we're going to make quota. This is the year. We did it, guys.
We're going to do it.
Wow. So, Jeff, what do we hold fast to? What's the belief that keeps everybody going despite multiple failed and I think you guys said 3 years, yeah? Our 3-year contract has become a 5-year contract. And so what's the belief that makes you keep coming back for more hope, even though your last serving of hope tasted so brutally bitter? We hold fast to what's the central value? Yeah, we hold fast to. It's the second one on the list.
Okay, that's why I was looking underneath that.
I mixed it up. That's totally my bad.
It's up here if you want to look on that.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I don't know if you can see it well.
We will. We're really hard-headed here. We'll keep going. We will make it work. There is no sunk cost fallacy. We're committed to finishing what we started.
Yep.
We don't get paid until we make quota.
Exactly.
All right. Jesse, actually, you know what? I'm going to read this one because I like this one. The most beloved person here is, and this is for everyone, the bartender, of course. Yeah.
Cheers.
You guys decided it was JJ, Janice, a.k.a. Joplin. She's a storyteller. She's a they, them. They help everyone forget their troubles, whether with a brew or a shoulder to cry on or a nugget of wisdom. Aww. What's one source of joy, Jesse? The hills are alive.
Exactly. It's all of our old Earth movies. We're all homesick, and it's just reminding us of what we're working for.
I still am laughing at the idea of The Sound of Music being one of the big picks, because that just seems like the most brutally dystopian thing to show a bunch of miners trapped on an asteroid in space.
The blue
Somehow very
skies.
perverse. Oh my god! In Technicolor, yeah, yeah.
Well, it's better
It's a
than what we've
shared
got.
blissful. It's a shared blissful dream of what you've almost forgotten about home. I forgot we got we got a little poetic on that one. Don, what's the rumor that's going around?
That we are all that's left of Earth. A lot of people think it's the great lag, and all of the transmission we've got are just echoes of a bygone age.
Oh my god, hold on, I'm adding that. A lot of people believe it's all the great lag transmissions we're receiving.
I mean, you always got to blame it on the lag. That's the rule.
Sorry, yeah, from an Earth that's already gone. Oh god. Oh, you guys just keep doubling down on the darkness. And just to finish off this theme of darkness, I've played so many joyous games of Holdfast. Oh, y'all are just some brutality here you need to work out. To finish off the despair, what is the name of our Holdfast?
Penance.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Now, I will jump over the character intros because the cool thing is you're going to have an opportunity to do that in the first scene. So last time we walked through building this thing, you guys each got a chance to build your characters. You decided on all the different details, quick drop downs, all the tags. You learned a little bit about how to make moves, and you're now going to get a chance to flex it a little in the mess. The one thing you didn't build about your characters was bonds. And the mess is a scene that will help you build those bonds and help you create the characters and the community of this asteroid mine. So I'm going to read straight from the script, and we'll get started. Jesse, were you starting last time? I thought you were, yeah?
Don was.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
Don
it was
was.
me.
That's right. Because you had the bad reputation. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So, beautiful. Now that you understand how to make moves and we've set up your Holdfast, let's start the episode. Welcome to the mess, where everyone congregates to catch up on the latest rumors, swap the spit, eat, and unwind before or after going on shift. There's a comfortable hum of conversation, laughter, and the familiar homey smell of food. So you are about to go on shift. This is the beginning of shift. And we're going to start with Don's character. The questionable, shall we say, Dawson. Dawson, would you like to describe yourself? Tell us what you look like. Give us a little intro to your character.
So
Yeah.
Dawson's kind of looks like definitely you can tell by his stature and the way he stands with his posture that he's more of a middle-aged, severe kind of person who doesn't look like he smiles an awful lot. And there is that kind of bad reputation. It's more of a long. What is your favorite color? I think his favorite color is probably beige. Like
gray.
Yeah, like and you can tell that
Anything
he's
soulless.
No, he can tell he's had a rough time, but like there is that rumor going around that makes him a little hard to trust for the others. So while he may not be sitting alone, he oftentimes gets ignored.
And I heard this rumor last time was that you had been the only one to survive a military operation that you were on, and there's a rumor that maybe you left some people for dead.
Yes.
Am I misremembering?
Nope, that's pretty accurate. And that's why
Okay,
there's a lot
so
of...
I was going to ask...
Yeah, so go for it. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to ask, where do you sit and who do you sit with? This is before you go on shift, and before you say, all by myself, it's a crowded asteroid mine.
Yeah, that's
you don't
fair.
have a lot of extra room. There's not a lot of room to be solo. So who can tolerate you, or who will at least leave you alone when you sit next to them?
I would probably be sitting next to or close to on one of the benches between like one of the bulkheads and the main mess would be probably like one of the other med techs, perhaps somebody that I'd be able to strike up conversation who is working last shift.
So who's the med tech you tend to sit with? Are they young? Are they old? Is this somebody who looks up to you, who looks out for you? Who is this person to you, and how do you know them? How do you guys get along?
I would say that they're younger and that they're just finishing up the last bit of their schooling to become a full-fledged Stitch. And so they kind of look up to me as a mentor a little bit, maybe. I don't know.
So this is the intern. No, you're building a bond here. Congratulations. You are mentor too. And I want to know this person's name. And if you want me to come up with one, I'm cool. We can crowdsource it. And give us a gender or any spectrum of genders that suits this person. They could be a bot. They could be male, female, non-binary, wherever you like.
Okay. How about Evan and their non-binary?
And you are a mentor to Evan. That's lovely. It's nice to see you looking out for the youth. Evan sees you walking over, and Evan is kind of like, Evan like waves at you and looks excited to see you, and you're immediately like, okay. Yeah, the kid wants to talk about something clearly.
Yes.
You sit down with your plate of food, and Evan immediately launches into, oh wow, I'm really glad you're here because there's a lot going on, and I really was hoping I could just pick your brain a little bit, just because you seem to know a lot. And sorry, how are you? He sort of stops himself. They stop themselves. Sorry.
Wow. I'm okay this morning, I believe. Well, morning's relative, but so what seems to be on your mind?
They stop for a second and they kind of like scratch their head and they sort of tap. They do this. You've seen them do this before. They sort of like do this little thing. It's sort of a self-stimulus. They're sort of clearly knocking something free, and they go, I got to get this straight in my head first.
That's fine.
Just I've heard some things.
That's understandable.
About, the arrival. There's folks saying that maybe it's not happening. The normal stuff. Yeah, I just I don't always know how to talk to people when they say those types of things, and and at this point, Evan kind of shakes their head, and they say, "It's Sadie. Sadie is somebody that Evan you think has had either a crush on or is seeing. You're not sure what their relationship is. They've not been specific about it. They've been very vague.
Okay.
People tend to be a little shy about relationships on the Holdfast because once you openly admit to a relationship, it's real tight quarters.
Yeah.
So everyone knows everything, and it kind of locks you down, and it becomes an expectation, and it can really ruin things. So while people do have relationships of various kinds, they often don't say much.
Understand.
If they do.
Yeah.
So what Evan's telling you right now is actually like a huge, like you can tell they feel real vulnerable at this moment. So they kind of like spit that out sideways, and they're like, "It's Sadie," and then they just get quiet and kind of poke at their food.
You're like, well, I mean, that's a difficult thing. It just depends on how you want to approach the subject, I suppose.
Yeah. Kind of shakes their head. They Evan looks up at you kind of sideways and is like, what do you think?
Well, if they're questioning it, I mean, probably the best thing we can do is hold to data. I know that facts don't abjure feelings, so it would be a wise move to maybe try to use them as a pillar or something that Sadie can lean on and try to reassure. That's my best.
At this point, Evan kind of looks like is looking more and more anxious as you're talking, and they kind of go. They've been going to a lot of services lately. Services are run by Tobias. The listeners.
I see.
The listeners are not as excited about data, and you know immediately when he says this what the issue is.
That's a tough spot. That's a good question.
Okay, he shakes his head. He goes, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything.
It's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll figure it out. I don't know. We got to be able to talk about it sometime. It'll be what it'll be, right? Sure."
Well, I mean,
you can tell Evan is feeling like he just opened his mouth and stuck his foot in it.
Gotcha.
Are you going to reassure them? Are you going to try to coach them on what to say? Are you going to ask a few questions about what Sadie's been up to with the listeners?
I'm more interested into seeing how deep Sadie's gotten into with the listeners. My character is extremely pragmatic as far as Dawson's perspective, so he's trying to understand what the level of reaction would be in the face of like factual evidence versus beliefs and that sort of thing. So just trying to gauge the level of depth of belief in Sadie's perspective.
Well, here's I'm going to flip that around and ask you a question. In terms of the beliefs of the listeners, how deep do you know? How much do you know about the listeners? Have you been paying attention to this? Because you know they're around. You've heard about some unsanctioned meetings that happen sometimes in the back of the movies. Sometimes there's rumors that they actually meet up in some people's bunks and hold small ceremonies. And you know that there are also rumors that sometimes they take ore. And that is there's a brewing sense of frustration with them because you guys set this up last time that maybe they're the reason we're not meeting quota. We would have been gone already if it weren't for the listeners. So you told us that the factions with the most friction were these two groups, right? The listeners and the folks who are just trying to get the job done. We need a name for them. What do we want to call them? The listeners and the
the doers.
The doers. Boy, they just sound terrible. That makes them sound like terrible knobs. Like, really. Boy, we need something that has that sense of like, yeah, we're just here to get the job done. But like, with that sense of like self-importance, right? Like a little bit, because that's the problem with all factions, right? They always have self-importance, whether they're listeners or
How about something like we are the doers. We get things done. No, let's see.
The builders, Bob the Builders. I don't know. We get things done. I was thinking, can we build it?
Well, I mean,
maybe you guys call yourselves the Bobs.
Or because
it's one of the shows you have.
Because they sling ore all day long, they could be the slingers. I don't know.
Or the dreamers. One of our old Earth movies can be Field of Dreams. If we build it, they'll come.
Oh God! Wait, no, you're the Costners. You're the Costners. I'm sorry, we have to do it.
Yep, that
the
is.
Costners after Field of Dreams. Fucking beautiful.
Yep.
Believe that if they build it, if you build the quota, the ships will come. Beautiful. Okay. All right. So yeah. I take it you identify as a Costner, Dawson. Is this correct? Are you a Kevin? That's what I need to know.
Yeah.
Dawson,
I think
are you a
he's
Kevin?
Costner.
Okay.
Yeah. He's
Okay.
a Costner, but he doesn't like he kind of views the way the listeners have behaved in the station more as kind of a passing thing. Like he's in his mind, every ship and every
Ooh.
crew's got their little thing, and it's not that big of a deal. But now he's starting to realize slowly that maybe there is a bit of a disparity between the two more than he expected.
So this is more like you think, people get loopy after a while.
Yeah.
This is just,
Yeah.
this is just
That's just
people,
space.
they're feeling their oats. Yeah. They're doing a thing. You're sort of sitting there and you're like, do you want to ask Evan a follow-up? Because he's just looking like he feels like a dummy for opening up to you. You're kind of giving him the Costner response, which is often like, yeah, whatever. It's, we gotta hit quota. And so he's feeling that like, I just told you something embarrassing and I don't know how to, like, he's clearly, there's a little knot inside Evan. They're not, I shouldn't say he, I apologize. I'm still using the wrong pronoun.
It's all good. So I think that Dawson would put his hand on Evan's shoulder and say, hey, just listen to what they're saying, and if you feel like things are getting rough, maybe we can come to some kind of conversation where we can just talk and listen and see if we can do something to, I don't know.
So they shake their head and Evan looks up at you and goes, just listen. You sound like her.
Well, I mean,
that's all she does. That's all she wants to do. Just listen, but not to me, not to anybody. To the oar.
I see. Well, I mean, there's got to be a way to discuss with them, so maybe listening to what she's saying when she does speak, we can come up with something.
Evan kind of like just looks down and they're like, do you know Tobias at all?
I mean, nothing aside from what I've heard. I hear...
At that, Evan looks a little surprised. Everybody knows everybody. It's not that big an asteroid mine. So you got to know something. You've met the guy. You've met the person. Because Tobias is also a they, them. We established that.
Yeah.
They're non-binary. So Tobias is very, very well known. And everybody's interacted with Tobias at some point. I'm going to say, I imagine Tobias is just a digger.
Kind of
but
that's the every person.
Yeah. Well, and Tobias has a reputation.
Yeah.
So they are one of the oldest diggers on the station, and they've been down in the mines for longer, and they've come up after some accidents that caused some real damage. And there's a sort of mystique around Tobias. When Tobias talks, you listen because Tobias has been down there. Tobias knows things. So, and they're also a really effective digger. That's the other part that's a little bit like problematic, because a lot of the folks who are listeners are some of the most productive diggers on the entire station. They're the ones who've been down there. They're the ones who have a sense for how to get the ore out. And so it's a little hard to be like, yeah, well, you guys don't know what you're doing. Like the Costners are having a kind of a hard time with it. The Costners have kind of a white collar thing going on.
Yeah.
Where they're like, well, the data says, and the listeners tend to be like, you don't listen to the ore. Like there's a little bit of that going on.
Gotcha.
So when Evan asks you about Tobias, one of these two is walking up and catches your eye, like overhears this. Who overhears this? So Jeff, is this you, or Jesse, is this you? And let's click over and look at your characters. Who's the one? We've got Freddie, who's a Specs. He's management. They're management. Or we've got Minnie, who's a bot, and is a rigger, fixes the tech.
And
You can paper, scissors, rock, or I'm asking you, actually, technically I should ask Don. Don, pick who overhears this. Who are you going to put on the spot?
I think that Freddy's walking by.
Okay. And remember, we are using X card. Also, feel free to pause, rewind. Always, please. You can also private chat me. Always let me know if there's anything that you want to change or bring out.
Yeah, perfect.
Holler. Everybody cool with this? Okay. Temperature check. Right on. All right. So, are you cool with Freddy being in this scene, Jesse?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's Freddy overhears this. Somebody's asking. In fact, a couple of stitches are talking about Tobias and the listeners, and it looks you spot Evan looking real nervous, and the minute he sees you, the minute they see you, they look down and look like they're they start stuffing their mouth with food, just seem like they're, and you catch the eye of Dawson. And Dawson gives you a look. Dawson, what is this look? Is this a come over and talk about it, or step away, or oh crud? What's the nature of the way you feel about Freddy is the real key here.
I'll look over to Freddy and just kind of do that slow sideways head nod, like have a seat on the other side of Evan for a sec.
Oof. Okay, as Freddy sits down, Evan gets up and literally grabs a tray to you, and they go yeah, I'll see you down in the labs, and kind of walks away.
Yep. All right, take care then.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I think so. I was just talking to Evan, and they were talking about how Sadie was struggling with the fact that they don't think the arrival is occurring. And so, I don't know. It just seems like there might be a little bit of friction there.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to have some hope in these times, but, we got to make do with what we got, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, at least we got some good movies, right? I mean, did you catch the last one?
I didn't, unfortunately.
This is a brutal, bitter. I'm gonna do a little bit of meta here. Honestly, you just exchanged Costner propers. This is the equivalent of your holy writ. Well, you got to make do with what you have, right? Yeah, we got to keep it together. Did you see the last movie? No, I missed it. Tell me about the last movie. This is the stuff that makes the listeners lose their gourds, because it's been 3 years. You're supposed to already have left. It's not normal anymore. It's not okay. But you're doing this pattern of reaffirmation that this is all normal. Everything is fine. We will keep working. Who overhears you exchange this and has a reaction? And it's a non-player character. Give me the NPC who is hearing this exchange and is triggered. I should be careful. Triggered is a very important word. Let's say they are sparked. Something about this exchange really sparks their the dander is up.
Yeah, gotcha. What you
Is
think?
It worth noting that I'm also completely masking by doing this whole Costner stuff?
I love that. That's wonderful.
Yeah,
okay, you're playing a role. Love it. Keep going.
I was going to say, I'm like, Freddie's always been that coworker that you sit down with occasionally that you just go over the normal daily stuff with, that 3/4 friend acquaintance you have at work.
Yeah. How's the weather?
Exactly.
This is the problem, though. What Dawson just said to you is something that you're not supposed to say out loud. People have been spreading this rumor, and one of the reasons Evan got so upset and left is Evan admitted to the rumor and also conveyed it. And conveyed they were nervous about that rumor, and they didn't know how to answer it. And those things make Costners really lose their stuff, because it's effectively saying, things aren't all right. No, I did not see the movie, and it doesn't matter.
That's
The
that's
hills
kind
are
of
alive. Yeah, like, so that's so here's the thing. Somebody just overheard this exchange, and can I just you mind me introducing someone?
Yeah, go ahead.
go for it.
Okay. I'm gonna introduce Trilby.
Nice.
I don't know where Trilby came from. I was gonna do Truckee, and then I was like, no, it's a Trilby. Trilby is a digger, and Trilby is also kind of the. You can think of her as the firebrand among the listeners. Tobias is very careful and very quiet, and kind of when he speaks, people listen. When they speak, people listen. Trilby speaks all the time, and Trilby does not watch her mouth. And she sort of you get the idea that maybe that she's definitely playing a role in the listener movement. She kind of like she's walking by, and she leans over, puts her hand against her head, and gives Freddie a look and goes, "Yeah, I didn't catch it either. Tell us all about the lovely movie." And she's looking at Freddie, not at Dawson when she says it. Freddie, she's seen you at the meetings. She knows.
Well, I mean, like I said, I wasn't there at the movie, so I have no idea.
Yeah, do tell, Dawson. What was it like?
Oh,
Was it green and blue and fanciful?
Yeah, it was a great musical. It's one of our favorites. It's Sound of Music.
Oh, that's lovely.
Definitely.
Did you feel that music? Did you feel it in your heart?
Not so much, but I did enjoy seeing the blue skies.
But they're gone, aren't they? She kind of pats you on the shoulder in kind of a patronizing way, and she goes, "They're gone, and so are we." And she says, "And if we ain't careful, we won't have any kind of life at all, dreaming about blue skies while we dig ourselves to death."
Yeah, I could see some wisdom in that.
You're just so tolerant. She looks at you like you can see on her face that she's doing this like, oh, I can't get a rise out of this Costner. She has this like bitter look, and she turns around and she goes, "Well, I'm glad that somebody's enjoying the on-flight entertainment. I, for one, could use something with a little bit more soul, if you know what I mean." And she says this real loud, and this is the problem. It catches the ear of another particularly loudmouth type. This one is named Hatch. Hatch is technically a rigger, and Hatch is big, and Hatch is well known for having very little tolerance for listeners. He hears this, and he looks over and he goes, "Hey, that's enough out of you." Trilby goes, "Ooh, did I trigger something? I'm so sorry. Pardon me. I know you love your beautiful old films. By all means, enjoy." And she waltzes off, and you hear him grumbling. And what you hear him grumbling is, "Ain't gonna be long now." And then he kind of like turns back, and a couple of the other guys at his table, there's like a chuckle, and there's like a little tension that runs around the table. And you have this moment of like, oh, wait, what the heck was that? I'm going to say that Freddie as a Specs, you in particular are like, wait, what? Trilby talks like this all the time. You're used to her making fun of the movies. You're used to her talking trash about people who think that they're going to go home. You are not used to this. There's like an undercurrent of frustration or anger. Something went around that little table, and you're like, wait, huh? I'm going to say, yeah, go ahead. Do you guys want to take your time, react if you like to what just happened?
I think from my side, it's more so like with the whole wanting to know the whole picture and the desire to really try and keep on top of all the data, to get new data that I didn't know of is kind of a shock, but I don't want to kind of show my hand yet. Just kind of pause and internalize it a bit and make a mental note to look into it.
Okay. I'm gonna ask who you like. This is Minnie. You're gonna overhear this. I need to know. And so currently we've got Dawson. You are mentor to Evan, and you're a casual acquaintance of Freddy's. Yes. You got like you sort of know each other to nod at each other. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So this is more like you sort of watch yourself around, or like you're like casual with, or
Yeah, casual acquaintance. Okay. Somebody I've hung out with at least in a professional level here and there.
Okay. Remember, you're on board this ship 24/7. There's no getting off the asteroid mine. There's going to be a little bit of emotion in any relationship. I need a little more. You can't get away from each other.
That's fair.
How do you feel about Freddy? Do you have your suspicions about Freddy's listener sympathies? Do you know that Freddy's hiding something but have no sense of what it is? Do you trust Freddy and think Freddy does a good job?
I think Freddy does a great job, and Freddy's pragmatic and just a Costner like me.
Oh, okay. Believes in Costner solidarity. Yep, with Freddy. Okay, wonderful. Okay. It's gonna make it. I can't wait for the reveal. That's great.
He's the pragmatist. Right. He misses all of the emotional cues. Like,
oh, that's great. He's like, yeah, what a great guy.
Yep.
He totally does the job.
Yep.
They're perfect at what they do. Okay, Freddy, can I ask you first off, how do you feel about Trilby? You are a listener, but you're keeping it secret, and Trilby is walking around poking Costner buttons left and right. That's like kind of Trilby's thing. How do you feel about Trilby?
Man, if they were not such a good worker, we'd have a lot more issues.
So you appreciate the output of work, but it's interesting as a listener that you're so concerned with work. Where are your real values, Freddie? You've heard the ore. You've listened.
So my process as Freddie is, I've seen the numbers. I've seen the data. I've seen the reports back and everything, and the targets we're supposed to hit. And through the desperation, the listeners gave a little bit of hope that I didn't have anymore.
Because the numbers can't possibly work.
Yeah.
So the listeners gave you hope that maybe there's a life here, that maybe you don't have to keep hoping for this thing in terms of the data is impossible. So how does that make you feel about Trilby? Because you don't think necessarily that Trilby's wrong, but how do you feel about the way she provokes?
I think it's a bit rash and not in the best interests of the crew as a whole.
Can we go with exasperated?
I'd say exasperated. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, it just happens to be on one of the drop downs, and I'm fond of it. It's a great one.
I don't know what to do with
wonderful. Okay. That's exactly right. Do you say anything? You spot, and this is the problem. Out of the corner of your eye, when you hear Hatch say "won't be long now," there's this little rumble, and you realize you need to know what that meant. That you were like, wait, what? And you catch, I don't know, the eye, the monitor, the Minnie. Can you describe yourself here?
Yeah. All right. So Minnie is a bot. They are mini because they are about half the size of the normal people on the ship. They were designed specifically to be a rigger. So they've got they're small, so they can fit in tight places and go in some of the car doors and vents as they need. They have long, skinny arms. That way, they can reach those hard to reach places when they have to like get in there and work on the engine or anything like that. They do have a monitor output that they try and just to fit in, and they don't necessarily understand the conflict. Yes, yeah, you.
Okay, is it the smiley face, like being? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I love it.
You got it. And yeah, so they're just they don't necessarily understand the conflict part that's going on, but they can sometimes read when things aren't going. So they usually come in with something that can diffuse the situation, not because they're good at diffusing the situation. Everybody just kind of looks at them and goes, "What?"
When you say that Minnie tries to fit in, do they treat Minnie like a mascot? Do they treat Minnie like an object? Do they treat Minnie like a pet? Do they actually give Minnie the respect of being a full person? I assume this is different based on different people, but what's Minnie's experience of being treated kindly or respectfully by the rest of the human crew?
Yeah. I think in general, it's kind of like, I don't know if mascot's quite right, but I don't know if pet is quite right. So I'm leaning more towards like.
So there's a little bit of disrespect involved. There's a little condescension, but it's also like there's that sense of like, hey, it's the little guy kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So Freddie, you spot Minnie, and Minnie, why are you in the mess? Because you don't eat. Why do you come here?
Minnie comes here at the times when the most people are eating. Because they're trying to socialize. They're trying to be where the people are. Yes, I did.
Are there more of you, or are you the only one? I have to know if you're alone or if I'm feeling for you. Are you the only bot on this station, or are there more?
No, I think there's more bots, but
okay.
Minnie takes more of an interest in the people on the station than most of the other bots do.
Okay.
They're interested more than like, they're not just all about I'm doing the job that I was made for and I'm best at. They're thinking there's more out there. We're like, what else?
So as a rigger, you are often the choice of away team rigger. You're the on-site rigger. You're not the one who gets left behind in the docks to take care of the damage that's been done. When vehicles and other equipment come back from mining, you're the one who goes with, because you don't need oxygen. You don't take up any of the extra oxygen that has to be taken to the mining site. So this is one of the reasons that you hang with the diggers. And that's who you catch the eye of. And I need to know, Freddie, how do you feel about Minnie? Is this like that bot has issues always, or is this more like that bot is reliable, or I can use that bot likes people? What's the feel here?
So kind of going with the same veins, like I'm intrigued by Minnie, just because they're really good at what they do, compared to some of the other bots that we work with, and just the odd idiosyncrasies of trying to blend in with the people. It just makes
you're curious.
You're
curious.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Okay. Curious about Minnie. Fascinated. All right. Wow. So, okay, you spot Minnie, and Minnie, you're kind of like trying to do some sort of chuckle along with the people at the table, but you didn't really catch what that emotion that just went around was, but there was an emotion. You're like that. That's that human thing. They're doing a thing. There's something there. There's a weird audio output. Something's going on. That wasn't a straight communication. That was one of those wavy communications.
Yeah, the smile kind of like wavers a little bit, like somebody laughing with their mouth.
So Hatch claps you on the back. You're sort of up on the table, and Hatch is like, Hatch goes, "Yeah, it's a good bot. You always, you get it, right? You get it. They get it, right, guys?" And like, there's like a kind of like, yeah. You're like,
No.
Oh, and
And
then everybody erupts.
I look. I go.
The
No.
whole table erupts in laughter immediately when you're like, no, they all like laugh, and like Hatch claps you on the back. A couple people are pounding on the thing and like laughing their butts off, and one of them goes, doesn't matter. Hatch is like, it's all good. Listen, little one, I gotta tell you, you just stick by your digger friends, all right, and we'll make sure that everything gets taken care of. We're gonna make sure you're safe no matter what happens. We go down in the hole together. And what do? And the rest of them goes, we come out together. And then like there's a big like, whoa, and they all clank like they're drinking some sort of like caffeinated substance, I assume. It's getting on shift can be grimy in the AM.
Minnie has a mug. There's nothing in it, but Minnie has a mug and like just joins in the motion, just slightly behind them all. Like they raise and Minnie's like,
yeah, I got it. You hear, this is the thing, you get a little buzz and you're being contacted, and it's one of the other bots on the station. Who is it? What other bot is it?
Oh, let's see.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's another rigger bot.
Okay.
Because there's some things
there's
some things that are just too complicated for a one bot to handle.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
So is this one more like electrical engineering or like biosystems? Like they look after the vats in the medical area that grow some of the various kinds of moss and whatnot that y'all eat. What's okay? Which one do they do?
The bioengineer. They like watch over the vats, so they make sure those are working, and maybe they need somebody with a little more on the technical side to help them do something.
Well, yeah, you get pinged, and the ping is it's a request for open comm, and you're like in the middle of being like you're making the face and you're getting the ping. They can't hear it, but you can hear it in your head. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of like frozen a little bit, and you're like, okay, do I do the bot thing and like turn my face off and do the communication, or do I keep faking being a person?
So Minnie has been practicing for this moment. They've been preparing. They've been waiting. And so they're able to throw a static image onto the monitor. Like a
freeze frame?
It freeze frames, and that lasts like, hey, and they turn on the comm to listen because they're getting pinged. So somebody needs to talk to them, and so they do have to answer.
Okay. We're gonna call this bot. What are we going to call them? They're not going to give themselves a name, a cute little name like Minnie. They're in fact, they're going to be disdainful of the fact that you've adopted a humanoid. They're like, come on, you gotta always like kiss up. Like, oh, they're just meatbags. We're gonna call this one M34. It's the 34th medbot that was made in its line. So M34 pings you, and M34 says that you just see you get the pure data packs. This is all in binary. This is not, we're not wasting any time with words, because why would we do that? We're not those things. And really quickly, what it says is something's odd with the vats. It requires extra hands. Asking management to reassign. Are you willing to help?
Yes.
11001. That's a quick ask. Yep. That's 0. One. Okay, so you're like, yeah, and at that point you can see the schedules getting scrambled and they're getting reprogrammed. In fact, Freddie, you're receiving a ping from Central, which is the office in which you work, where all of the different management is run from. You're getting a ping that there needs to be some schedule changes, and it is literally at that moment that y'all hear the tones that indicate beginning of shift. So you hear And then everybody's like immediately stands up. You hear a little bit as you're beginning to make your way to the to where you're going on shift. You can hear there's that energy, whatever that energy was with the diggers, it's real strong. There's something going on. Nobody knows exactly what it is among you. There's definitely, you have a sense of something up. Freddie and I will say Dawson sensed it too. I don't think Minnie has any clue.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay, what's your bond with M34? You say you guys work together, like you're looked down on by, like M34 looks down on you a little.
Yeah, they don't understand, the fascination with the meat bags.
Okay, yeah, is looked down on by. Yeah, and then Freddie, do you reciprocate the curiosity? Like, do you all talk? Because Freddie's curious about you and your curiosity, and you're kind of like, this meatbag wants to talk to me. Yay!
Yeah, Minnie likes Freddie because the curiosity from Freddie leads to interactions, and so I think.
So you like to talk with.
Yeah.
Okay, Freddie, do you want to say anything to Minnie as you're going out? Because like you saw Minnie like had that little thing, might have heard something.
It's started shift, so it's kind of hard, right?
Yeah, it is. You're getting pinged. Like you got schedules to change. You better hustle.
Hey, Minnie, you wanna play some chess after shift's over?
Certainly, I do.
It's like the X with the big D.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. So yeah, you've boot up. Yeah, absolutely. The diggers are headed out to the docks, which is where all of the larger mining vehicles get loaded, and where the diggers all get on top and they go out to the ditches and the tunnel. They call it the shaft. It's one big main shaft with a lot of tunnels off. And you've been digging deep into this asteroid to get the ore out. So we are now, and you don't need to read this part, but yes, you are correct. We are in planning for trouble. So we have the seeds of trouble. I'm not going to tell you which of these I've invented. Unless you would like to workshop it, which is totally cool. I would love to workshop it with you if you would like. But if you don't, if you just want to find out, play to find out, I'll throw some more pebbles and I'll use what you give me, and things will become clear in time. Up to y'all.
I'm fine with it being a surprise. Yeah.
Play to find out,
like the idea
or
of play to find out.
Yep, for sure.
Excellent. All right. So now you're about to get to work. I would like to ask each of you, since you're going on shift, where you're headed. You might be going to the docks or the hangar. You might be going down to the vats. You might be going to the mines, the actual shaft itself, or you might be going to the control room. I should say control since I'm central. So who's heading where? And let's start with, since we were talking to you last, Minnie, where are you going?
Minnie's been pinged, so they're going to the vats, I think, right?
Okay, so yeah, there's some shuffling of numbers, and the diggers are all like headed out, and Hatch turns around and is like, "Come on, you're coming with us, right? You wouldn't miss it, right? I told you. We need you to stick close."
I will catch up. I left something at my domicile.
You left something at home? Hey, the little guy left something at home. How about that? And like the other guy's like, he goes, "What'd you leave? You leave a spark plug?" And then he leans in and he gets real close and he goes, "Listen, I'm just trying to look out for you, all right? You got to stick close with us today, okay? Do you understand?"
Yes, I do. I just have to finish one thing and then I will catch up.
Hey, deployment ain't gonna be forever. We're gonna load up and we're gonna roll out, and we go down together. And he looks at you.
We come up together.
He goes, "That's right. and he pats you on the shoulder. It kind of like you kind of move forward. You're half his size, and he's got big hands.
Yeah.
And he runs to catch up with the other guys. They kind of waited for him. And there's like a bunch of talk as they go off. You head down to the med vats. As you're going, Freddie, you pass by in the hallway. You guys just talked about the chess, and you're headed into control. I'm gonna ask each of you, and you can choose to be in the same space if you want. But one of the things about this system is it's designed so you can have like switching cameras and spotlights. So, because in movies sometimes you need people in different spots. So hold on, I've got a small person who's asking for my attention here. Can I have just a moment?
Yeah, no worries.
It'll be late, probably past your bedtime. Are you okay? Okay. I got a mopey face. My heart.
Oh.
I know that.
He was like, "When are you getting out?" And I was like, "I probably after you sleep." And he was like, "Okay." With that said, this I give to you. This is the last time you get me like this. As you guys are all so, Minnie, you head down to the medvats. When you're heading down, I need to know whether, and this is a question for our Stitch.
Mhm.
I need to know, Dawson, are you going to the medvats or are you going to the mines to be the on-site Stitch in case of injury?
Well, if I haven't heard any need for me to be down at the vats, I'd probably go along with the live team to make sure that there's no injuries or.
So you're on call this shift? Because there are other Stitches.
Yeah.
Evan's one of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Evan is actually getting suited up. Evan is your intern.
Mhm.
And so when you get down to the hangars, Hatch is there, the other diggers are there, Trilby's there. They've got teams, and there's been a lot of like working of different like angles, and you can see Trilby and her crew. They've gotten one of the big rovers, these giant mining rovers that roll out to the chasm, and Hatch and his crew have got another. You usually only send out 2 at one time,
Yeah.
and then you switch shifts because you can't keep going for too long down there.
Yeah.
Oxygen runs out, and you have to come back to reload. So Evan kind of gives you a look, and you see that Sadie is on Trilby's crew as the on-site rigger for the thing. She's actually up in the front seat. She's a pilot. She's
Gotcha.
driving. And she sees Evan and kind of gives him a wave, and they wave back. Evan waves back, and then they won't meet your eyes at this point. You're on with Hatch's crew.
All right. Well, I'll be like, all right, Evan, well, take care and stay safe. If you need anything, make sure you contact me.
Well, Evan's with you.
Oh,
this
Evan's
is the
with
thing
me?
you remember, they're almost finished their internship.
Fair.
You're the mentor.
Yeah, fair.
So this means you're looking out for Evan. You're like, okay, Evan. And Evan's like, I'll do my best today.
You got this.
They kind of like shake their head and they say, honestly, I don't. Okay. And you can tell that did not reassure them at all. They're not feeling well, and they're not feeling like they're just feeling like their head is clearly not in it.
Yeah.
One of Hatch's guys kind of punches Evan on the shoulder and goes, "Hey, you aren't gonna ride with your girlfriend over there?" And like a bunch of the guys are like, and Evan's like, and Evan kind of turns his head a little and like looks a little upset. How are you?
Well, I'll be like, hey, Evan, are you doing all right? Like,
Evan's like, I'm fine. And he like runs and grabs a thing and like leaps up. You realize that was the exact wrong thing. One of the guys who's with Hatch is like, they're fine. Why you gotta make them all nervous? Gosh, come on, Dawson. I thought you were a tough guy. And like kind of gives you a thump on the shoulder. Climbs on board.
all right.
Hey, we got to make it work, right? And,
Yep.
and at this point, Hatch looks at you like, say the thing. Say we're going to make it work.
We'll make it work. We don't have a choice. We got to make it work.
He nods real big and he's like, that's right. Every day. And like a couple of the other guys are like, and there's this very toxically kind of like There's a rumble there. You can feel the energy too. You're like, oh, you swing up into the rover's like back. You guys ride with the diggers in the back, and you have exosuits.
Yeah.
Usually, when you're on site, you sit up front in the cab, or you sit in the back with all the monitoring equipment to monitor the oxygen, because it requires somebody who can use the med equipment, because there's a little bit of a little med station back there. And it also requires somebody who will watch and monitor the vitals.
Yeah.
So that's your job when they're down there.
Gotcha.
You roll out. Meanwhile, in control, who do you run into when you walk into control? Freddie, this is you.
Oh.
Yeah, this is you're the spec. You walk in. Who's in charge? Who's the person who most people listen to? The Costner of Costners. I mean, we could call them Kevin if we wanted.
I think we have to at this point.
Yeah.
It might be part of the joke.
Yep.
Like that's how the Costners became a thing. Somebody was like, Kevin would like that, and everybody's like, oh.
And strangely,
All right,
he
so
looks similar.
He's got the Kevin Costner face. Yeah. So when you walk in, Kevin nods to you, says, "You know what to do. Just check in on and points. Where he's pointing is it's the data set for the arrival. He's like, data reviews tomorrow, arrivals set day after. Just need to make sure all the numbers run right. Double, triple check it for me."
Yeah, of course.
Good man. Claps you on the shoulder.
This
Good
might
person.
be the year. This is the year.
Kevin
catches himself for a second. It's like this is the year.
You hear
Actually,
a
you know
collective
what? I'm gonna actually
groan.
I'm actually gonna say that Kevin might catch you on this one. That was almost sarcasm, and it was so close that he might feel it leaking off you. I think you need to make a move. There's a chance if you fail this, he smells it on you. Because that was almost a Trilby line. Like, this is gonna be the year. Like, it's a little too much. Especially with Kevin. It's almost like, it's almost like trolling him. What do you have that might help you sell this to Kevin? Take a look at your tags. You've got minimize loss, can't let go, eye for detail, memorable hair.
My Earth heirloom.
And you're excellent at data management.
Earth heirloom.
You have an Earth heirloom.
And
Yeah, what's your Earth heirloom? Incidental question. It might be useful.
Is it a rubber ducky?
He pulls out the old school watch, and you're like,
yeah. It's a mechanical pocket watch that you have to wind up.
oh,
Nice.
wow. Okay.
Very nice.
So you're like, this might be that's one die. What else you got that you're going to use to sell this to this guy? That's die one.
What
else you got?
Goodness.
Or badness. We'll find out.
I'm gonna say eye for detail.
Eye for detail. What are you're gonna like catch the look on his face before the whole line gets out your mouth? You're like,
kind of like the whole.
I don't know if that's gonna work here.
Hey, did you get a haircut? No.
Eye for detail is not going to give you the easy glib cover. Give me something else if you've got it, or just roll that one die and watch the trouble start. You could try whipping your memorable hair around. You could just it might be the year. I feel like the memorable hair might be the only thing you've got.
Yeah, I'll give that a go.
You're gonna try to be too pretty to disbelieve. That's 2 dice. You want to do an online die roller, or you want to roll them old bones?
I can roll them. That's all good.
Go for it. Remember, the high roll is the one that
Ah.
determines what happens. Oh, of course. Floor
Yeah.
dice. Let's go.
I heard that one.
A 5 and a 3.
Yep.
Oh,
A 5 and a 3. So success with a trouble.
Ooh.
Kevin looks at you and Kevin, like, there's this moment where he there's like a little suspicion that flickers over his face. And then you kind of hold up and you like push your hair out of your way and you're like, yeah, this is going to be the year. And Kevin you can see Kevin shakes it off and is like, let's hope. And then pats you on the shoulder. Here's your problem. Ready? The trouble is when you go and sit down, right next to you is Shelby. And she goes by Shell. And Shell looks over it and goes, this might be the year. You reckon?
I'm sorry. I forgot myself for a second. Just a bit, feeling a bit blue today, you know? I'll shake it off.
I think everybody. Okay, when you say that, like Shell kind of gives you a look and says, hard not to. If it happens again this year, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've been hearing things.
Yeah? What you been hearing?
She shakes her head and she just goes, nothing I feel comfortable sharing with somebody so sure we're going to make it off this rock. And just starts typing.
Yeah, well, we know from your past experience, the data never lies, right?
She doesn't even say anything. When you say that, she kind of, like under her breath, just kind of says, all right, then tell me what it's telling you. And she kind of like waves at your console, says, go ahead, plug in. Tell me what the numbers are telling you. No lies. And when she says no lies, she actually looks up and gives you a straight look. And you're like, oof.
Yeah. I mean,
You're wondering what she knows and what she's heard. She said, and I'll make you a deal. She leans in and she goes, you tell me what those numbers say before you tell him. And I won't tell him where you've been going nights. And then she leans back and turns back to her console and starts typing.
Blackmail it is.
Well, I'll say this, Shell, and you don't have the sense that she means you any harm, but she gets this, you do get the sense she doesn't like that you're keeping things. That whole line about like the data don't lie, the reason she's calling you on it is she feels like you're not being legit. You're not being straight up. She's not a dyed-in-the-wool Costner, but she's clearly frustrated with you. You get the energy where she's just like, are you kidding me? You just told off, you just mocked Kevin to his face, and then you're going to pretend like you're not going to listener meetings. And she also, you get a feeling of like, there must be a reason she wants to know the info. She also let on that she's been hearing things. She's not totally hiding everything from you. So you get this sense of like, she's giving you a little nudge, but she's also not trying to go after you hard. You and Shell, you've been working a long time next to each other and you don't mistrust her. But clearly she's mistrusting you at this moment, but wants to trust you, or she wouldn't have mentioned she'd been hearing things.
I mean, is she not allowed to see the data, period?
No, it's just you got assigned to this task.
Oh, okay.
And she wants to hear the final tabulations. So you guys are always running the data, but sometimes there are spikes and fluctuations in the ore. And lately, any spikes or fluctuations in what comes out of the mine create really big ripples throughout everyone's day, if you follow me.
Mm-hmm.
So she's basically telling you she wants to know if something's going to happen.
I mean, I have no issue sharing and divulging that. For me, Freddie, they don't mess with the data. They see it as factual. It's not something that can just be messed with.
Yep. Well, so you're doing the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll do the numbers and then I'll show it to her. I've got no issue with that.
Here's the problem. Yesterday came up short, and it also looks like there's ore missing. Your surplus went down.
Well, that's not good.
You literally say that under your breath. You're like typing away and you're like, well, that's not good. And you like run the numbers again. Yeah. There is not as much ore as there should be.
And
You are not only under quota, you're further away from quota than you were several days ago. And there's no clear reason. You've had positive in every day. You have not had any reason to lose ore. You have not had any reason to accumulate loss. So something must have happened.
And regardless of anything, Freddy's still going to see an issue with that.
Mm-hmm.
One of their drives is to minimize loss, and that's loss of any form is not good.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll share that with Shell.
Okay. What do you say?
You
say that's not good, and Shell goes, do tell.
It appears that we're losing.
Are you saying this quietly or are you saying this loudly? I need your, like, how loud is this gonna be?
How crowded is the room?
Well, so specs are kind of, Central's tight. Everything's tight on the station. So you don't get to have a lot of room. You're sharing a lot of air, if you know what I mean. So all of you have inside voices, if you know what I mean. This is one of the reasons you like the movies. They tend to let you have a sense of space that doesn't exist on the mine. You are all on the station really close to one another. So when you talk quiet, you talk real quiet.
So I'm going to say it's like a standard office interruption, like where somebody has found out something and it grabs the people's attention.
Okay, so you're gonna broadcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Freddy can't let go. I got to minimize that loss.
Oh boy,
that's beautiful. Lean in. So what do you say? You're like, that's not good. And the minute you say that loud enough, Shell goes, do tell. And Kevin comes over and leans over and says, what's up? And immediately Shell's like,
we're down. We're down bad. Like, there is not a lot of this needs to be addressed.
Kevin's like, show me, and like leans over, looks at the printouts and says, all right, we have to get someone down there. I'm going and I'm taking, and he starts recruiting people. You realize he's recruiting people, and he authorizes, he goes over and he punches in a code, and there's a weapons locker, and it opens, and he's handing out weapons to some of the specs. And he's like, we need to get down there and we need to count it by hand. And we need to make sure that only the people that are immediately in this room are the ones doing the counting. You realize he's beginning to flip.
Question. Do you think we might be going in a little too gun-ho?
Kevin looks at you and he goes, 5 years. How many more do you want to stay on this rock?
Yeah.
I understand that, but you have to understand from their viewpoint too. Like, if there are people that are taking it, do you think that would just cause them to start panicking and doing stuff on their side too? You know, you're going to cause a panic.
He looks at you and he goes, I'm going to cause a panic. You just told me we're losing ore.
But that's just in this room. That's just us. That's not the whole station. That's not the whole station panicking.
He looks at you and he says, right. And that's why you're going to keep it quiet. I want you staying right here. And he asks one of his, he tells somebody, this is another character. This is another person you know, a guy named Still. He goes, Still, take the door. Keep it quiet, and you cover for this. Move people away on the schedules. You can do that, right, Freddy?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Shell goes, you know what? Why don't I stay and make sure we keep it proper? I don't like touching them things anyway. Points at these are these are stunners. They basically fire a really powerful electromagnetic pulse. The problem is they've been known to give some people heart attacks. You haven't seen these in years, and nobody's supposed to break them out unless there's an instance of mutiny. You realize what Kevin's doing is he's invoking mutiny status right now.
Shell, I'd appreciate all the help you can give me because this is serious.
Shell goes, you always been a master of understatement. Then she kind of spits sideways and sits back down and shakes her head. She goes, couldn't keep it quiet, could you? Had to open your big mouth, didn't you?
Yep.
Shakes her
Data
head. She
doesn't
goes,
lie.
she goes, 5 years working next to you. You'd think I'd get a little bit more respect. Like, shakes her head again. Hey, down in the med bay, Minnie.
Yeah.
You have made your way down there. You have gone past a lot of where the stitches have stations. The the vats are where most of the growth of the different kinds of algae that you process to use as raw stuff for formulating foods. That's where those tanks are kept and monitored, and all of the lights systems are run. And M34 is sort of spider monkey like, climbing around in the vats and checking all the monitor levels. When you ping, M34 kind of climbs down, cocks its head, and you hear this, of course, in binary. But I'm going to adopt a voice just because we're humans and we like to use voices because they're fun. It says, "You came, excellent," and then it says, "We have an interesting issue."
Well, says it in like spoken word and then switches to binary.
Oh gosh.
What is the issue?
You see you feel the disdain coming off of M34. It's not even disdain, it's more like, what a waste of time. Says follow. And it starts downloading schematics into your head as it's looping through. It goes into the back. There in the back, there's a bunch of the tubes that have been pulled, and they've been connected to some sort of, you're not sure what it is. It's a container. And when M34 gets there, M34 is like, this was installed at some point during my reload cycle. It is currently connected to all that machinery. Energy signals indicate ore.
Strange. Minnie will go up.
Understatement noted.
Minnie's going to go up and take a look at whatever this contraption is to see if they can recognize, if there's what it's for, and if they recognize any signatures or anything on it that might tell them.
It looks
maybe
like
who placed it there or who made it.
It looks like it's been cobbled together from pieces of broken hangar machinery. You kind of recognize some little scraps of metal that were not able to be repurposed or welded or melted down from some of the injured drones up top. And you realize somebody must have built this thing before installing it, and they must have just installed it. And this is where M34, you realize something. You're like, M34 pinged you. M34 didn't tell Control. That is not protocol.
Minnie's going to pause for a second, realize this, think about it, and, communicate back. Why did you not follow protocol?
Growth rates have tripled. you have had issues with foodstuffs on this rock for quite some time. It's one of the reasons the arrival is such a big deal. It's very hard for you to keep your limited food source replenished. Having a completely sustainable system, even with waste reclamation, it's very difficult. There's always loss. Biomass deteriorates. What M34 just said is that basically, and this container is pretty small, it's not that big, can't be that much ore in there, that whatever this thing is, it has increased the rates of algae reproduction. M34 points over and says, I have harvested twice already today. Usually there's one harvest per cycle. 2 cycles already, and they're filling up a 3rd time. M34 said, I wish to completely understand schematics before reporting in case it is disabled. It seems, and there's like a pause, if organics are to be preserved in current state, necessary.
They do need to eat. Okay, and Minnie was gonna kind of like dive in. They've got their other hand.
The other piece is you do have some solar energy, but there is also gas offput from this that is used to help generate electricity. So it's also your foodstuffs. The vats don't just generate for the organics, they also generate for you.
Okay.
All the equipment has to run on something, and you don't have limitless energy. Y'all are far enough away from the nearest star that the ambient light is not great.
Yeah.
Minnie's gonna be like kind of dive into this thing and take a look and inspect the schematics, and without even like looking in that direction, you know, they don't need to look there bot anyway. They're just gonna like almost mimicking like an absent-minded meat bag, kind of reach to their side where they have this little tool, and they pull it out and just like absent-mindedly like spinning it around in one
the
hand.
multi-tool. All right, what else have you got?
They're this is the fidget spinner that they've got.
Oh,
they
okay, this
out.
is the fidget. Okay,
Yeah.
you're like, so you're like spinning it as you poke at this thing. If you want to understand it, it's a move, because if you don't understand it well, there's a possibility something bad happens. And I always want to have a move made if there's a chance of escalating the drama. Just to be clear, every time I ask for a move, it's going to be because there's a potential for the drama to take the story in a different direction.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, I'm using the fidget spinner as, you know, Minnie's way of keeping them from being distracted, and then they're also going to pull out their multi-tool.
You've become more organic than yeah, boy. It's a very organic bot. You've been changing. That's interesting.
It's like kind of like a habit. It's a program that has adapted a little bit on its own.
I mean, I imagine that there might be some other reasons that you're a little bit more organic, but we'll find out.
Freddy 5 is alive.
I mean, you are considered fully alive. You are AIs, but weird things like not being able to focus without a fidget spinner, that's very organic of you. It's an interesting quality to have. It's unique. Okay, so we've got the fidget spinner going to get the focus going. What else you got?
Got the multi-tool.
Yep.
Attaching to the other arm to be able to dive in and take a look. And
that's got you too. What else you got?
Minnie never backs down. So when there's a task at hand, it goes until it's complete.
All right. You got 3 dice on this bad roll. Let's see what you got.
Woo, I believe in you.
Okay, 1 fell.
It's always the floor die.
2, 3, 6.
6 is the high roll. Perfect success. Okay. So if you get 2 6s, that's a bonus. You get to save a reroll. You get to bank a reroll for later.
Ooh.
Very handy. If you get 1 6, gorgeous. Goes off without a hitch. You know several things. So I'm going to call this as a move. Anytime you make a move, it's good to think about which kind of move you want to make. In this case, this is going to be either make a discovery or it's going to be figure it out. Now, the only difference is if it's make a discovery, You tell me what you found out. If it's figure it out, you ask me 2 questions and I have to answer.
Cool.
I'm gonna go with make
So
a
it's
discovery
a
because I have a thought here.
okay. So what? Okay, what did you figure out about this device?
I don't know if this is gonna help us in this story.
What
at
have you
any point,
discovered?
but-
Oh no, let's go! Come on, this is where things get fun. The whole point of this game is collaboration. I want you to author. Let's go.
So what Minnie has found out is someone somehow has, we knew the obvious. They've made a way to help increase the food supply. What Minnie has found out is, given enough time and enough ore, there can be an indefinite food supply.
This could be made completely sustainable, and you could literally have indefinite amounts of food, enough for population expansion.
Yes.
That's key. So it's not just sustainable food, it is the potential to build and to expand.
It needs more ore for expansion, but
Yes.
where it's at right now, there will be no more food loss.
All right. I will also give you this. It does seem to be producing a lot of that gas, which can be cycled and created and turned into oxygen. So you could get some air, which is another precious resource on board if you use the ore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you found this out. Do you want to share this with M34? Do you want to tell Control? Who do you want to tell? What do you want to do?
Well, I know this is good for the people because they need food, they need oxygen. It's good for the bots because we need the food as well. And there's always loss, so this is going to, this is going to help sustain. This is going to make people happy. But it's not going to make I don't know if it's going to make my friends from the mess hall happy.
You're right. It
Because
very well might not.
It's good to have food and oxygen, but my friends from the mess hall, most of them want to leave. They want to be able to finish this job and leave. But if we use ore for this, then ore's not going to the quota, and we can't leave. But you know what? Everybody is friends here. We've lived here. And so they all need to know that we found a way. We don't need to take a lot of ore. We've got enough to sustain. And if we grow the population, maybe we can leave because there's more workers.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
That's so beautifully naive.
I love it.
It's so
Spot with the
beautifully
heart in the right place. It's
Oh.
all the heart, none of the sense.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And so Minnie lets M43 know and suggests now we follow protocol and notify Central.
M34 immediately uploads the data to Central. And hey, Freddie, you and Shell just received some real interesting data.
And I think Minnie wants to go tell his friends in person now.
Oh, of course. Why wouldn't you? This is really exciting news. You're going to share it with everyone. Because, this is going to fix everything. Meanwhile, in the mines.
Instead of the lines and the smiley face, it's the lines and the D now.
Oh, yeah. Pretty soon it's going to be 2 T's and a dash. Okay. Meanwhile, in the mines, you have spooled out a lot of cable, and they've gone down the shaft. So the way this works is you back the big rovers up, all the diggers get full suited up, they go out the airlock, you close back up and refill with, and you two stay inside. You stay in the oxygen and you monitor all the vitals.
Yes.
And for each team. You are also in radio contact with the other Stitch, who's in the other rover.
Okay.
And that's let's call them. Oh, let me see. Marker, which is like YR.
Awesome.
Marker is a Stitch who you've known for a while, and is on Hatch's team.
Okay.
So Hatch's medic. Hatch's team's medic. So Hatch and Trilby are already on comms. All the diggers are commed up. They have a habit of like talking crap, and like sometimes they get into singing matches. They do a lot of like, there's a lot of chatter on comms because the work is boring, and keeping yourself alert by like chatting with other people is one strategy that all the diggers use. So you all are patched in too, and you're hearing all of this. As Trilby's going down, Trilby says, you hear Trilby saying, "And now we go into the heart and we listen." And Hatch goes, "Yeah, listen to this," and goes, and like there's like a bunch of laughing from Hatch's crew, and Trilby goes, "I didn't expect you'd hear anything but your own gas." And then there's like a bunch of like laughter, but there's an edge to it today. A lot of them are going at each other, and it's starting to sound nastier and nastier. There's definitely a feeling in the air. They're down there and they're drilling, and they have these giant exosuits, and the drills are really powerful and pneumatic, but they're dangerous. You slip and you rupture a suit, you're dead real quick, unless somebody can get down there and patch you, or you can get pulled back. You all have the winches for pulling them up as well. They also sometimes set charges, and they're starting to set charges for excavating a particular area where they think the vein's going to get thick. And you can hear Hatch and the guys being like, "This is the big one. Come on now, let's do this one right." And there's like a lot of like back and forth. Evan is looking more and more nervous. He actually gets on comm at one point, and he goes, "Sadie?" And Sadie's like, "What is it?" And he goes, "Just be careful down there." Sadie goes, "You're ridiculous," and like goes off cam. And he goes, and he just looks really frustrated. Do you want to talk to Evan about what's going on? Do you want to talk to anyone? They're all setting up charges down there, and you know that in the next hour or so they're going to let them off.
Okay. Yeah. First thing I would like to do is like see, like, "Hey, Evan, Sadie's still eating at you? What's going on?"
Evan is feeling nervous around you right now. If you want him to talk, you're going to have to try to persuade him to talk. He feels like you got to make a move on this one. This is going to be a network move. You're going to try to influence somebody to give you what you want. You want to know what's really going on.
All right.
Yes?
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
What do you have that's going to let you get him to talk to you? You got a bond now. Mentor to Evan will help you here.
Yeah, I do have that.
Yep.
Let's see. Maybe an eye for detail, noticing his level of nervousness and trying to de-escalate it a little bit.
I love how you're being nothing but like kind and like patient and balanced, and you're super hard looking and single-minded and have a bad reputation. Like you are very much you're such a diplomat compared to your what's on the page. I was imagining you'd be like, "Evan, you got to talk to me."
Oh, well, that was going to be the single-minded thing, as I was going to be like doggedly bugging him, being like, "Evan,
okay,
Evan,
we'll give it to you. All right, Evan, that's 3 full dice.
We got to talk about this, man."
It's not your fault.
There's nowhere for him to go. He's looking down, and he's like, "Already told you everything there is to say. She doesn't want to listen to me, and it doesn't sound like there's much I can say to her. I don't know. I can't do this right now. I can't be here in the truck and watching her vitals and talking to you about this at the same time." And he looks up, and you can see he's really on the edge of something.
All right.
You want to make that roll?
Yep. So I only roll good usually when I'm running games, so this will be really bad.
Wonderful.
Sure.
That's great. Please, let's up the drama.
Yeah. A 2, and a 5.
Success with a trouble. Okay, at this point, he says, "You want to know?" And you keep picking at him. He goes, "You want to know? You want to know?" He points at the monitor that has Sadie's life signal, and he goes, "That's not one heartbeat."
Oh.
And then he hits the button for retract. You're like, wait, do you want to grab him? Like, that's the trouble.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Sadie's like, what the? And like, you can hear her getting dragged out. Hatch and his team immediately are like, hey! And like, there's like a scramble, and somebody goes, hey, what's going on up there? Everything all right? Like, Sadie, you okay? I'm fine. I'm just oof. And you can hear like she's getting dragged out.
Yeah, I'm like, Evan, we got to deactivate that.
Do you? He's not listening to you.
All right, yeah, I'm just gonna.
He's retracted it. That's the trouble. The trouble you're doing is he hit the button. He hit the button. She's getting retracted. And it's at this moment that the charges go off. All right, I am about to set what's called a drama clock. Here's the way this works. Yeah, we're getting ready. So, something has gone wrong in the station, and it is time for you to deal with it. Here's the way this works. Okay. There's a countdown. The Holdfast's trust is threatened. There are a couple reasons it's been threatened. One is Trilby and the listeners and Hatch and his diggers and the Costners are clearly having a brawl. And Sadie being retracted by Evan feels like an active aggression against the listeners. The listeners are clearly upset. You can hear Trilby down there, and she's going, what did that bloody Costner do? You get her back here. And like, you can hear them, they're running out. Hatch and the others are laughing about it. And that's absolutely frustrating. That's the first thing that's gone wrong. The second thing that's gone wrong is, so the ore is missing. And Kevin and his crew, Kevin and armed Specs, have gone down to make a count. Meanwhile, in the mines, Evan has retracted Sadie.
Yep.
And the listeners are reacting strongly. I will say there's starting to be yelling from down there, and it sounds like they're about to be, they may end up in a brawl.
Okay.
And the third thing is, Minnie has information that may prove disastrous or important or resolve things.
Yeah.
Disastrous in the wrong, let's say in the wrong ears. Yeah. May prove disastrous in the wrong ears. So here's the way this works. Since we have only 3 of you, I am going to give each of you 2 moves.
Okay.
So that means that you now have, each of you, 2 moves. Total of 6. After 3 moves have been made, the countdown will tick once. If you succeed, if you get 6 successes with 6 moves, you will ultimately resolve the issue and prevent calamity for the Holdfast. However, if you fail, then there will be consequences for the trust of the Holdfast, and the trust of the Holdfast will be shaken. It won't mean everything's over and everybody dies. It will mean you will be in a tenuous situation. Now, here's the important piece. If you think to yourself, oh gosh, how do I do this? One of the answers is look at your special move. So your special move is going to allow you, once per game, to do something special. Reroll a move. To do a particular kind of thing. So even if you fail, there's a potential that your reroll will save your bacon. And remember, if you get 2 6s, you can bank another reroll that anyone can use. So these are critical for understanding how to make this countdown work in your favor. Everybody cool with this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so anyone who wants to can make a move, and don't worry about time between moves. This isn't about turns. This isn't about, there's no turn. You can make 2 moves in a row if that proves to be effective. You can talk to each other on cams. You can on comms, you can fast forward and sort of slow down. So you could say like, okay, I want to get everybody back to the station. Sure, you can do that. And then the next thing can happen. The bottom line is you have 6 moves before the consequence occurs, regardless of how much time it takes. Does this make sense to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. So you hear Trilby yelling, and Trilby's reaction is a little nuts. Trilby's like, get her! You know who she is! You know why! And the other listeners are all yelling. There's some weird, like, semi-religious stuff they're saying. There's somebody's like, the child! And like there's like they're running towards the chasm. You can hear Hatch and his guys, they're like, you hear Hatch and he's like, hey, you guys on comms? What's going on? Did they place the charges yet? And like, it's at that point where like, he's like, we're setting this thing off, right? What are those goofballs doing out there? Hatch's team doesn't know that Sadie got pulled because Sadie was on the listener's crew.
Okay.
Evan is like over and like he's like suiting up so that he can grab Sadie and drag her in. Sorry, they can drag. Apologies. I keep doing that.
That's a tough one. Shoot.
You can say anything, do anything. You can tackle Evan. It doesn't have to be a move every time. You could say, I try to tackle Evan and get him to stop, and then we can see what happens. That doesn't have to be your move. You can radio central. By the way, you can radio control. You can hear over in the other one, the other Stitch.
Yeah.
Let me remember the name. The Stitch on the other one, Marker.
Mm-hmm.
Marker hollers to you, says, what's happening out there? Is everyone okay?
Yeah, I think
you retract one of your
Evan
crew?
Accidentally.
Is there a
hit that.
breach?
No, there's no breach. Evan retracted Sadie. We'll get it sorted.
Marker goes, we're on a heck of a deadline. Those charges need to go off today if we're going to try to make quota. Everybody's relying on this. Evan,
I got you.
What's going on? Evan's like, I'm not listening to any of you. And Evan's like, I don't care anymore. Think whatever you want. And like he's like they're slamming on the button.
All right.
Marker's like, is this space related? Everything okay? Is Evan not well?
Oh, he's fine. They're fine.
Marker's immediately like, okay, are you well? Hold on, I'm radioing control.
Yeah.
He goes on link. This pops up, Freddie, in front of you. You just got 2 pieces of information that are really messy. First off, Costners and Kevin and the Costners are down in the ore and they're doing the count. And they have already gone through half of it and it's way low.
Ooh.
That's the first thing. And he's asked you to close off that area. Everyone's off schedule. They all got moved out of the ore containment area. And he's currently got it on lockdown. And he hasn't let anybody know. But people are starting to talk. The second thing is you now know that Marker is on comms and Marker hits you up. He's like, hey, anybody up there in control? We got an issue.
And the information that Central just got.
Yeah, no, you're going to show up at the door. I'm going to have you like knocking on Control's door and just being like, hi, I'm here to see my friend Freddie. Like, I can't wait for that moment. So yeah, Marker's like, anybody up there? Hello, Control?
This is Control.
Is that what you hear? Like, like in the background. This is good. Says, yeah, this is Rover 2, Hatch's team. Marker, I'm on Stitch schedule for today. Something's gone wrong with Trilby's crew. They're talking weird. Both Stitches are a little bit odd. One of them pulled the cord and sounds like, I don't know why, but Freddy's covering for him, or I don't know. He said nothing's wrong, but they pulled the cord and there's no sign of rupture. You got any sign of rupture? I can't see all the vitals on that crew.
Do I have access to that data?
Yes, you have access. So all data is uploaded live from every data crew. This is why control is so important. The on-site stitches are there to like make sure everybody's vitals are okay. But this is like, okay, you're getting feed that this is like live feed, and you're like, yeah, there's no vital problems. Nobody's unhealthy. If somebody got retracted, that's not right. They shouldn't be. And also, you get Margaret says, also, I don't know what's going on. That whole crew is talking weird on comms. You should listen in.
So the first thing I'm going to do is there a way I can lock them out of the controls?
This is where you hear the knock on the door.
Hi. One. Wait,
guy,
people. Hey, Freddie. Good news.
The guy at the door is that's actually the lady at the door. Yellen. Yellen is a spec, and Yellen is holding this EMP pulse rifle, and there's a knocking at the door, and you hear like, hey, from outside, like in this like little robot voice, and Yellen looks over at you two and looks at the door and just shakes her head. And you hear the knocking keeps going.
That's a lot of stuff all at once.
Yes.
So now's not a good time, buddy.
You hear the voice faintly inside. Now's not a good time, buddy.
But I have great news that will make everyone happy, and they were not all happy earlier.
Can you transfer it to me? The room's kind of on lockdown at the moment.
On lockdown?
I mean,
do I need to plug in and fix it?
Would you like to make a move, Minnie?
I think Minnie would like to make a move.
I would love it if Minnie would make a move to pop the door on this baby. Let's go. Okay. What do you got? So Minnie's like, oh, wait, you mean you've got a problem with the door? Chunk like. Yeah. Give me what you got, Minnie.
So Minnie's got the multi-tool.
Mm-hmm. So this is a fix-it move. I like this.
And this also a fix-it move.
This is, yep.
Their friend has told them that they're having a problem with lockdown. So once they have a task, they don't.
And you are friendly with Wait, you are friendly with Freddy, are you not?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that not a bond that you have?
That is a bond.
Yes. So Freddy's in there. You got to get Freddy out. Okay. What else you got?
Multi-tool. It won't back down. Freddy's in there. And
won't back down. Oh, won't back down. All right. Got it. Okay. Yep. So yeah, you're like, yeah, no, I got you. And you immediately whip out the multi-tool and go to work. Give me the roll.
Is this 3 or is this...
Yeah, you got 3 full dice on this. This is as good as it gets, my friend.
All right. Ooh, wow. That's a 4 and 2 6s.
2 6s? Holy monkey butts. Okay, this means... Wow. All right, you get to bank a reroll. That's a momentum. You've got a piece of momentum. This is positive momentum for the Holdfast.
Oh, yeah.
All right, tell me what happens when you pop this door. Tell me how it goes phenomenally well. Give me what you got here.
So, Minnie's like, oh, they're on lockdown. They must have done something. There must be a problem in the system. And so Minnie gets out the multi-tool, plugs in, connects with the system, sees the lock is engaged for some reason. And they do kind of a little click in there, make it lock, and the door opens. And the person that was on guard duty, the door kind of opens on them. Doesn't hurt them, but opens on them so that way the gun isn't pointing there. And
okay, it knocks it free. And literally, Yellen is standing there, and Yellen's like, Yellen looks down and goes, "Look, you little," and then like begins to swing it around and like just kind of like shove you with her foot. And when when she does, like kind of gets knocked backwards and falls on her butt. And you literally just walk right by her. Oh, sorry. Yep. Like literally no sense of like, yeah.
No sense of what just happened or
Keep
what
going.
Just happened. And this comes in and it's like, we uploaded the News Essential. You have to know there's food. The food is not, we're getting more food and we're getting more oxygen and it's good. And all it takes is like somebody made a thing, a little contraption, and there's ore in it, and the ore is helping the food and oxygen production.
Wait, did you say
Yellen
that it
has slammed the door shut and has turned around and like staggered to her feet and is looking at the little things like Shell turns around and is like, okay.
Whoa.
I thought the day couldn't get weirder. I was wrong. like
they've already cleared out two.
Yellen has actually Yellen says from the door, she says, wait a minute. What is it exactly you're saying? You're saying somebody's been using ore in the vats.
No, not in the vats. Someone made a wonderful contraption that has tripled the production of food. They've already harvested food twice today. And I don't know if you know this, but usually you only harvest the food once. And just like the mouth is...
Yellen goes on comms with Costner. You can hear Yellen, and she goes, Yellen goes, I know where the extra ore's been going. Somebody's been taking it to the vats. There's some kind of contraption down there. We got a little bot in here. Minnie tells us that there's something down there, been increasing production.
Yeah, we have more food and more oxygen. Can Minnie get into this comm channel?
You can totally. Yeah, I love that. I actually like the idea that Minnie's like, yeah, it's great. That's perfect. So you can hear Costner, and Costner's like, get the bot off the channel. Close down all comms immediately.
Why don't we close down comms? We need to tell everyone.
Yellen runs over to the desk and starts hammering on the controls. She's doing emergency comm lockdown. If you do nothing, she will lock the comms. And I kind of like that she will. It's up to you whether you want to make a move to try to stop her. Ooh. And 5, 4,
Minnie's
3,
like, is that the best
2,
idea?
1. Comms are locked.
Yeah,
comms
Minnie's
are locked.
Not
Sorry,
understanding
you
the
did
panics
not react
of trying
quick
to
enough?
communicate. Yeah, no.
Yep.
Minnie was trying to communicate.
Okay,
and
so
be like, well,
Minnie
why?
busts through the door. Yep, and reveals everything. Kevin orders a comm lock, and Yellen locks comms. All of a sudden, the entire station is on silent mode. You've lost all comm with the mines. You've no longer got transmission with either of those teams down below. Sadie has retracted and bonks against the airlock, and Evan opens it, and Sadie whirls in her exosuit and punches them right in the grill. There's like an exosuit punch, like not hard enough to break but just like knocks him backwards,
a heavy thud.
And then walks over and starts pulling the rope out, and then like hopping down. Evan runs to the edge and is like yanks on grabs the cord and is pulling back. This has become a very tense situation. The weirdest part about all of this is it's done in total silence. You're now in exosuits. You can't hear anyone. What would everyone like to do? All of you are in this situation in different ways. Those of you who are in the room together can talk to each other. So Yellen, Minnie, Shell, and Freddie can all talk to each other. If you can close the airlock, Freddie, you could talk to Evan.
Dawson,
or Sadie, if you could get her in the airlock. Oh, sorry. You could talk to Evan and Sadie. Yeah. Dawson could. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I will try to I will signal to them. I'll be like, hey, I'll do like the O2 signal and be like, get in. We need to, I'm just trying to like force them over to the airlock.
Sadie points at Evan and then points down and goes, which is it's charges lit, let free. It's basically like there's mining to be done. You need to give me free rope so that I can move. Otherwise, I'll be hanging in the wrong space. It's basically like get him off me. Mm-hmm. By the way, at this point, the other diggers have hit their retract button on Trilby's team. They've all come up, and a couple of them pop up. You see Trilby come up, and she pushes into your rover and knocks Evan backwards. She pushes him to the edge of the floor.
All
like,
right.
and he goes down.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of interpose myself between the two and hold up my finger to Trilby and point at him, and I'm gonna be like, "I'm taking him into the airlock now," kind of thing.
All of a sudden, so Trilby goes. That when Trilby realizes everybody's lost comm, like she thought it was just her.
Yeah, that's why I'm pointing.
But then
I'm
she
like,
realizes when you do that, she's like, okay. Then she looks and she goes. She points out and she waves at all of her team and goes like this.
yeah,
And the team starts coming out. As they do, you hear a rumble. Hatch and his team set the charges, but they have no comms. It was on a timer. All of you realize it at the same time. And there's this moment where like Trilby's like waving the rest of her team up. They came up after Sadie and they were saying some weird things about the child. And like, there were a couple of words in there that you didn't quite catch, but it sounded a little weird. And when they hear the rumble, like all of them look down and they're like, and there's this moment of like, oh, if they didn't have comms and they set the charges and they're still down there, something might have happened. At this point, the other marker has poked his head out of the rover and he waves at all of you, and then he points down. All of the miners, all of the Trilby's team, they all like hit their thing and they start going down in. It's up to you whether you want to go down too. Some people might be injured down there. The charges went off when there were no comms.
I'll look at Evan and I'll do the stop, the X thing to tell him, hey, stop what you're doing, and hold up my bio scanner and point to the hole. Like, we got a job. We need to do this.
Evan immediately hooks on and drops like a stone.
Yeah, because I'm
and
like
he's
holding
right
my
beside
bio
Sadie.
scanner. I'm like, yeah.
All right, you guys get down there. There has been a mine charge set off. The dust is coming up. It's actually hard to see through because it floats and it doesn't dissipate nicely. It's very thick down here, and you realize that there were two tunnels, and you're not sure which one was. You know, like roughly where they were supposed to be, but you're not sure they blew in the right spot. It looks like somehow the charges knocked something that shouldn't have been loose.
Okay.
Would anyone like to make a move? Because if you want to figure something out, now would be the time. If you want to figure out where the other miners are, where's the other team, it's going to take a move. You don't have comms. You don't have sensors. You don't know where they are.
Yep. I will try to make a move.
Okay. What move would you like to try to make?
I will.
Do you want to try to use your bioscanner and scan for life signs? What are you doing here?
Yeah. I'm going to just like slow down my descent and partially rappel down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to try to use my eye for detail and bioscanner and hope for the best.
Great.
Trying to make it
Would
work.
you give me a roll of 2 dice? Please try to make it work.
All right. Here we go. That's a 5 and a 1.
Beautiful. Okay, great. So, first of all, let me tick your first box. You have 1 move on the build clock. After 2 more, you're going to have this. You're going to click the first click, and something else will change. So, you catch a faint glimmer of a biosign, and you manage to motion. Everybody starts sort of crowding around. A couple of the diggers start pull out their pneumatic drills and start drilling. There's a huge landslide. There's a little chasm, and you realize they're trapped in there. You manage to get it open wide enough, and people start going through. And then you see Trilby pokes her head back out and kind of like waves. They need med support in there. So you find them. You get inside. I'm doing a figure it out roll for you. I should have asked you whether you were making a discovery or figuring it out. Apologies.
Oh, it'd be a figure it out.
Is it okay that I'm rolling this way?
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. What are you? Do you want to ask the questions or go with these as the answers?
These are great answers.
Okay. All right. I went right into it without thinking about it. I was like,
no,
I'll make it.
it's all good.
I got ideas. But I always want to invite. Hey, this is important because I always want to make sure that the players have the opportunity to decide if they want to take on the narrative and say, "Here's what I find," because that's always exciting and it makes for great stories.
Gotcha.
So, you are you going to get in there?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. You wedge yourself through the hole, and as you do, it collapses behind you. You are trapped in a pocket down there with a couple of injured miners, one of whom has a suit leak. You get clobbered on the head, and you take a heart of damage. You take a point of stress. So now your maximum number of dice has just gone down to 2.
Yep.
Even if you've got 3 dice, you can only muster 2 because you are injured.
Okay.
Ooh, fun. As long as that's not X-carded.
Nope. Perfect.
I hope that's all right. So you found Hatch and the others. But you, in going down, you're injured, Dawson.
Yep.
You're now trapped also underneath all of this rock and rubble. You realize you can patch this guy's suit. You immediately start helping. Evan is there. Evan did not make it through. He's out there with Sadie and a couple of the others. Okay. The listeners are down there too. Meanwhile, in control, what are you all doing? Yellen's there. Yellen's grabbed the rifle and is now standing by the door again, and is looking at the two of you. And here's the problem: Yellen's face is in a little bit of a like, I am not sure this is great. Yellen is like looking at you two like, I don't know what to do. And you realize you don't know what to do either. And you all three are sharing this moment of like, I'm not sure if we're on the same page or not, but what do we do?
So many thing.
Shell is gone.
Oh, no, go for it. What is Shell?
So go Mini.
Is looking at this and like, there must have been a misunderstanding. I must have maybe I actually said something in binary when I didn't mean to, and they just misunderstood what I said. So Mini goes, so this, sorry, I there must have been me. This is a good thing. Everybody should know. I don't think you meant to lock the comms. Maybe you meant to open the comms. I can fix that probably. Try to fix that.
Yellen says, I had very clear instructions. I did what I was ordered to do. We do the work around here. She kind of like looks exhausted and rolls her eyes and goes, would you explain to your little friend exactly what's going on? Says that to Freddy.
Sure.
And Minnie's looking at you like, blink.
Yeah. It goes, dink, dink. The straight lines open.
Yellen goes, look, as long as everybody comes back, standard operating procedure is everybody's back at base. The minute comms go down. Nobody's going to get hurt. There's nothing going to go wrong. By the way, you may have no comms, but you do have vitals. Hey, there are some vitals with problems, Freddy.
Well,
Hatch's crew has some issues. There's some unsteady heartbeats. There's some oxygen level dropping.
Is Minnie able to read this too? Or
you would have to go over and plug in. Okay. This is not like general. This is control. Okay. So it's on yours. It's on screens for you. But unless you're gonna shout about it, unless you're gonna pull a Mini, other people might not notice.
I'm in damage control at this point.
Okay.
So my first thought is that Kevin is out of his gourd. We knew that we were sending some people down into the mine. My first thought is I gotta do what makes sense for the crew and what makes sense for the station. And my first thought is none of the people in this room seem to be making sense outside of Minnie and myself. And I want to see if I can lock Kevin and the Shell out of it and take over control.
Shell is looking at you, and Shell looks over at the gun, and looks back at you. You think Shell would want to go on comms. Shell did not volunteer to stay behind with you because she thought what Kevin was doing was a good idea. She never told you what she was thinking. So you get this powerful vibe. By the way, just a little bit of detail about Kevin. Here's part of what's going on, and you know this. Kevin left his family behind. This is his last chance to get off this rock. He was supposed to be there 2 years ago. He's lost 5 years of his children's lives.
He's not in the best frame
You think
of
he's
mind.
exactly. You think he's not well. Everybody on here is dealing with a lot right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and take control in terms of the comms and the access and cut Kevin out.
Okay. You turn and you start typing. Shell sees what you're doing. Yellen at the door says, "Don't go anywhere near that comm console." And you realize your problem is the comm console is a couple of seats over. You can't hack it. You don't know how. They're independent systems because they're designed to work together. You can get the read out, but you can't get the input. So you can't control the overall transmissions. You'd have to go over. Shell looks at you and kind of raises her eyebrows and is like, and you get the idea like she's going to go for the gun. It's a stunner. It's not like she's going to get, this is not going to get, nobody has violent, nobody's going to use projectile weapons on this ship. Nobody wants anybody dead. But she looks at you like, I'm going to go for it if you go for it.
And
does anybody say anything to Minnie? Because Minnie's like, we should really open up the comms. And Yellen's like, I'm following orders. That's what we do. Are you going to explain this? And looks at Freddy. And Freddy is like, and like looks at Shell. And Shell looks at him. And all of a sudden, they leap into action. Minnie's like, wait, what? Okay, give me what you got in making this move.
I think Minnie senses something's going on, but still has no idea, and so they kind of absentmindedly are just messing with the little fidget spinner again, just kind of looking between everybody because there's looks on faces.
All of a sudden, all the organics start. Yeah, all of a sudden the organics start doing stuff. Quickly too. Like they move fast when they move. Like, and they're all gangly and like fluid looking with their movements. So weird. What do you got that's going to help you here?
You talking to Minnie or?
I will point out everyone check your specials because remember, if it comes to it, you want to be making the right kind of move when you really need it to work.
Yeah.
Just pointing that out. So this is going to be a roll to fix it if you want to open the comms. You could also network and try to get Yellen distracted or confused or just talk to Yellen and convince Yellen not to shoot. That's a possibility here. And you would have to do it it would have to be about logistics, right? How this works, why this doesn't make sense. So you could try to argue with Yellen while Shell goes for the comm console.
I think, yeah.
You follow me?
I
Or you could go for the physical tackle, and you could let Shell do the tackle and you do the comms, or other way around. However you want to go.
I seem to get the vibe that, or do I get the vibe that Yellen is kind of unsure in general?
Yellen looks like, okay, you know Yellen. Yellen's a very like everyday, like Yellen's on point. She's kind of like a big, broad-shouldered, like very steadfast person. She always takes care of things. She's always on point. She doesn't like big emotional displays. She always follows orders, but you can see in her face that this is not okay. And she knows it's not okay, but she's not sure what to do. The bottom line is like, okay, everybody's lives are kind of on the line right now. If you don't meet quota, nobody gets off this rock. But she didn't sign up for shooting people. And cutting comms is crazy. And what are they going to do about the quota? They can't fake it. There's no way to make it up. So you can see all these things sort of warring in her face. There's a lot of reasons for her to be torn. she's kind of like brought the gun down and is kind of just like holding it, but she's not pointing it, but she's holding this essentially pulse stunner, like kind of at port, just like loosely, and just is looking like this at both of you. She knows you. You know her. This is not like a stranger. This is not somebody who's been your boss. This is somebody you work alongside.
I'm gonna try and appeal to them, like try and network.
What do you
want
to say?
Listen, Yellen.
What are you gonna say?
I'm gonna just flat out lay out the facts. The minute comms went down,
Okay.
vitals dipped. We're seeing some troubling issues. We can't have this. This is not okay.
Yellen is like, listen, I know things are rough, but Kevin's in charge and he's not wrong. We got to figure out the ore. And if what that little one said is true, then there's going to be a riot if everyone hears it. You want to be responsible for that. Do you want the Costners to hear that somebody's been stealing the ore, lowering quota? You want to be the one responsible for what happens in this station when that gets on comms? She shakes her head. She says,
do you want to be responsible for their death?
Tight. She says, no, and that's why I won't have comms on. Kevin might be wrong about some things, but he's not wrong about that.
But if they're hurt and there's no comms, how will they get help?
Who's hurt? You never told her anybody's hurt.
No, I said the vitals took a dip.
Oh, the vitals. Oh, you said,
Yeah.
The miners? She goes,
Yeah.
Well, then fine. Just enable their comms. Let them talk.
Sure.
I'm sure they can get them out.
Would
So
you
then-
like me to assist?
This is the thing. When you make this move, this is about to be a fix-it move. Because you just made an argument and Yellen said yes, but.
Mhm.
So if you make this roll, she's going to say yes. This is the unqualified successes. Comms all go up if you want them to. Qualified success is yes, but only for the ones in the mine. Failure is there's going to be a brawl in the in Central. I thought you talked your way through that without making a move pretty well. I think Yellen buys it. So I'm willing to save that and have that not be a move if you're down. You
Yeah,
can
I'm
save
cool
your
with
move for
that.
something else if you wish. Okay. Do you want to make your roll to figure it out and only enable comms for the rovers? For the miners?
Yeah. I think
Because that's a figure it out roll about logistics, which you can do.
I think that one makes sense. Let's start there and see if we can grow on this. Damage
do you got?
control. Eye for detail.
Damage control would be a great tag, by the way.
Yeah.
I heard that and I was like, is that a tag? That should be a tag. Damage control. Okay.
Eye for detail. I'm minimizing loss as best as I can.
Yes, you are. At this point, you're being very careful. This is a surgical minimization of loss. Yes.
Is Minnie able to help? Because I noticed you can add a die for helping.
Yes, and you have a bond, which means absolutely you can help. So, Minnie, you can patch in. You can get a third die also from, I would say, data management. You are doing a very, very compartmentalized bit of data management here. You're saying, I only want this data to be accessible by everyone on the station, not this data. Yeah. All right, so that's total of 4 dice. If you blow this, I will laugh hysterically.
I mean, that is my luck, so let's see.
Okay, great. You do have a banked reroll, so good luck with this.
A 1, a 2, a 4, and a 5.
Oh, okay. Success with the trouble. You managed to get the comms up on the rover. You completely do. You figure out how to do just that comm. But, hey, Minnie, you're patched in. I have a question. Would you like to broadcast something? I would love it if you turned out to be the butt in this figure it out role, but I don't know if you want to be that butt. Would you like to be the butt?
So,
Narratively speaking.
So Minnie's patched in the comms. So
Comparatively
Minnie
speaking.
heard that, doesn't know whose vitals, but heard that people's vitals are bad. Minnie knows that his friends, the ones he thinks are his friends, are down there. And so he's going to try and reach out to Hatch because he thinks
excellent.
he thinks Hatch is his friend.
Yes.
He doesn't understand the nuance of the relationship.
Nope.
And he's like, Hatch, are you okay? There's big news. Hatch.
Hatch is like, I'm not feeling so. Sorry, I was still in Scottish mode. I'm not feeling so good, little guy. Is that Minnie?
Yeah.
Hey, I told you to stick close. Where were you? We shipped out without you.
I know. There's plenty of food. There's lots of food and oxygen and is something broken?
What are you talking about, little guy? We're just trying to get fixed up here. We got a couple stitches. We're trying to keep everybody real calm. So I don't know what you're talking about, but you okay right now, yeah?
Yeah.
He goes, all right, stick close. I don't know if it's going to be the same kind of day I thought it was going to be. Where are you at right now? Why aren't you here?
Oh, so Control's in lockdown. Kevin made us lock down Control.
You don't know about Kevin making you lock down Control. You know about the comm lock.
Okay.
That's the part you know about. You have no idea where Kevin is or why there are so few people in Control. Usually there's like a bunch more people. There's a bunch more, there's a bunch more seats here with those weird screens that they like to hammer on. You just plug in. But,
I came to talk to Freddie, and there's not a lot of people in Control, and Control was on lockdown, and then the comms were locked down, and we got the comms back so we could hear you because something was going on.
Okay, he goes, you telling me that there aren't many people up in Control? And he goes, is this an open comm? Hey, Control! By the way, at this point, you can hear all the different folks, and let me be clear. Dawson, you have full comms. Evan has full comms. Sadie has full comms. Unfortunately, there's a huge burst of overlapping chatter the minute comms go back on, as Evan is like Sadie is yelling at Evan, and like Trilby and the others have all kind of clustered around Sadie. Some of them are still drilling. Hatch and the others are like all like, what's going on? Like, hey, there's a lot of like overlapping noise. Hatch is focusing in on Minnie. And Hatch is like, he patches into Control. He goes, hey, who's up there? What's going on back there?
And he'd be like,
Control?
Here's who's up here. Freddy's up here, and Shell's up here, and Yellen's up here, and that's really it.
Where's Kevin? Where are the rest of them?
I don't know.
Freddy, you there?
This is Freddy.
I saw you looking sideways this morning. Where's Kevin?
Kevin,
by the way,
handling a task.
Dawson, you're right there trying to patch up his suit.
Yes.
He's getting worked up. Hatch is like kind of struggling to his feet. Hey, it just occurred to you, this isn't the tunnel Hatch's people were supposed to be in. They didn't blow their tunnel.
I'll like
This is
tap on
Trilby's
his
tunnel.
helmet. Dunk, dunk, dunk. So
Trilby and the others have just realized that too. Trilby goes that you hear Trilby's voice. Trilby's in there with you. She opened it up. She goes, were you trying to get us out of our ore? What's going on, Hatch? You can't take it. Hatch looks at her and goes, just supposed to scare you. Wasn't supposed to do damage like this. Trilby's like, scare us? You want to scare us? I'm scared, all right. I'm scared I'm working next to a maniac. Hatch is like, you listeners don't know your place. You've been taking ore. Everybody knows it, and we're letting you know. You're on notice. You keep stealing from quota, it's going to happen. It doesn't have to be a warning next time. Trilby goes, oh, I see. If this is the warning, I just saved your ass, you tiny little, and they're like yelling at each other over comms. The rest of the listeners and Hatch's people have gotten involved. This is becoming a huge mess. Hatch is the question of central, Control not having people in it has just been lost.
Okay.
Like they've forgotten about it, but like a couple, like it's you heard it, Dawson, because you were in the mines. You just heard it. Evan caught it, and the rest of the crew caught it. Marker is like, hold on, who's up in control? Where's Kevin? We need all hands on deck. We got a mine accident.
Does something need repaired? I can come assist.
Oh boy.
You would have to get on a rover. Minnie's like, I can come assist. Like at this point, Shell looks up and looks at Yellen and goes, somebody's got to talk to him. And Yellen like shakes her head, and she looks back at Freddie and goes, I just want to do my job. I just want to do my job and go home.
Poor Yellen.
All of you, none of you are in a good spot. Okay, what does everybody want to do? I want to make it clear. 3 moves have gone down. I want to make it clear what happens with the first click of the larger clock. So, Freddie, you convinced Yellen to let him get cons on to help the miners, but Minnie has revealed something's up at control and has babbled something confusing about food. Meanwhile, we've also seen that Trilby and Hatch are Hatch was attempting to sabotage Trilby's dig.
All right. Well,
and there's open as a warning to listeners.
okay.
Now there's open conflict. They're not like fighting in their suits, but this is clear. Like the minute they get the suits off, this could be a riot. If they were on comms with the rest of the station, there would be open rioting happening on the station. I am going to give the next click. Ready? So countdown. If nothing, if the station hears about what happened in the mines, or what's up with the ore, riots will break out between listeners and Costners.
Gotcha. So
now there are a couple different ways that could happen, but that's what you're dealing with right now.
Right. Well,
so I'm gonna let me get that so that text wrapping is appropriate. You have one more tick. Each of you has taken 1 move. This means that each of you has 1 move remaining before the clock runs out.
All right. I have an idea.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to use my move to try to bring down the temperature, and I'm going to lean into my bad reputation, single-minded and hard-looking for this, because I'm going to go, you all know that I have a bad reputation.
What are you going to say, and
right?
What are you going to do?
I'm going to say...
That's all you're going to say? Come on. This is,
no,
keep going.
I'm going.
Lean in. Let's go.
Well, here's the whole story. The only reason I'm alive is because I was the one who was paying attention to protocol. The rest of the team went off mission, did what they weren't supposed to, and ended up dead. I'm not going to have that happen again. So all of you need to listen and work together if we want to make it out of here alive.
Wow, so polite. I was ready for the, now you need to shut them. Yeah. You're absolutely, so this is like delivered in an icy cold, like there's all this yelling, there's all this noise, all the comms are live, like Sadie and Evan are yelling at each other.
Yeah.
Trilby's people are yelling about the child and Sadie. Hatch and Trilby have gone at each other, like they're actually like bonked. Their 2 helmets are bonked together and they're like yelling inside their helmets, and like there's mist like frosting up the front of their helmets. And you're like, you're calm, just like you just like this icy voice.
Yep.
You know my reputation. I need you to listen. And like, let's see if it works. If it doesn't, they're not going to hear a word of it.
Yep.
If it does, hopefully it will make the difference.
Otherwise,
that was 3 dice, I heard. Yes.
Yes.
Only it's got to be 2 because you've taken a point of stress.
You're not wrong.
So that'll be 2 dice. I am not wrong. You could have also worked your connection there too. What did you get?
It's not good. That's a 1 and a 3.
Oh,
We have a reroll.
would you like to use the reroll?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So that's a. Do we have a reroll?
Yep, we have a reroll. I'm moving.
You do have a reroll. I love it that you're making the network roll. You're making a network roll here. I would really suggest making a fix-it or make a discovery roll. But if you don't have an idea for how, you might have to lean into that network and just go with the momentum.
Just going with it.
Okay, let's do it. Go with it.
That's a 6 and a 2.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you just pulled that out of the absolute fire. I was ready for you to fail with flames on.
Absolutely.
Woo. That's some dice. Okay, so this icy voice comes crackling through the comms. And this is the thing. In Control, you hear it too. And slowly, like one by one, you hear voices drop out of the comms as everybody shuts up and starts listening. And by the end of it, there's this moment, and you hear the first voice you hear after all of that goes on is you hear Hatch, and he goes, "We all go down together." He goes, "We all go down together," and then you hear Trilby.
We all come up together.
We all come up together. Minnie yells it in Control, and there's like a couple more of the diggers who say it, and all of a sudden it's like you clicked something. All of a sudden, everybody remembers where they are and what they need to do. Everybody was losing it to their own personal stuff. Tension has been really high on the station. Yeah. It gets like this around the arrival. Every year, tensions get high. Everybody's personal stuff comes to the surface. Suddenly, that line comes out. Everybody kind of mumbles the reply under their breath, and everybody starts working. Trilby's crew up top gets the drills out. They're digging. You guys start patching. It's happening. You're beginning to bring them out. At this point, hey, Minnie and Freddie, you hear a knock on the door again. This time, it's definitely a meaty fist.
It's not a good time for housekeeping.
Somebody outside goes, yeah, there's a voice in the hall. You recognize the voice. It's Tobias. Tobias outside says, "I'm here just to check on things. You know we got no comms in the entire station right now. I reckon there's got to be a reason, no?" Yellen's at the door and she goes, "We don't lock down until we get some repairs finished." Tobias says,
"Yes, we're working on repairs. There was an accident in the mines."
Tobias says, "That's not what I heard. Maybe y'all better open up so we can talk." You hear a couple of you hear some voices behind him and some murmuring. You realize there's a crowd outside of Control right now. He says, it ain't just a few of us, but I promise only I'll come in to chat a little bit. And he says, also, I reckon there's some folks down near the ore want to know exactly what's going on. Seems there's a lockdown. I love how tortured you all look.
I mean,
this is the best, honestly.
I look over at Yellen and I'm like, we either got to let him in or we got to deal with a mutiny. I mean, which do you prefer?
Why would there be a mutiny when we have everything we need?
Yellen looks at
we are your friends.
Yellen was focused on you, Freddie, and then Minnie's like, "Why would we have a mutiny?" And Yellen's like clearly just can't handle the triple input. No. Shell looks over at Yellen and goes, "I don't see how we don't let him in. I mean, what are we going to do? Just Tobias can't be too bad, right?" Yellen goes, "If I open that door, the rest of them could come in too."
Well, then why don't we ask them?
Kind of Go ahead, Freddie.
Well, why
What
don't
was
we ask
that?
them, Tobias? What guarantee do we have that it's just you that's gonna pop in, and we're not just gonna get absolutely torn apart?
Tobias says, torn apart. Well, I don't know anybody out here wants to tear anyone apart. Right now, we're just looking to listen. I got questions, and I'm hearing some things, but there's always a little more if you wait and get quiet.
Seem genuine?
Do you want to try to figure it out? Or do you want to try to make a network roll? Is this a move I hear brewing? Because if you have a question for me, that sounds like you might want to figure it out. Alternatively, you could make a discovery about Tobias if you wish. You know Tobias. You know him personally. You have been to the listeners, and you know a lot about the listeners. You have heard the ore. Now, you're not in the inner circle. You don't know everything that the listeners have going, but when you've heard Tobias speak, and it's moved you. You've also heard the ore. You've listened to it when they set it in water. There's a ritual that they have that goes with it, and it involves breathing, and it involves lying with your heads towards the central bowl where the ore has been placed, and you lie in the shape of a star with your heads all around the bowl, and you have heard the ore singing to you. You can't always put what it says into words, but you believe that if you listen, it is speaking. Now, whether that means you let Tobias in right now, I don't know.
I think I want to figure it out.
Okay.
Minnie wants to figure it out. Minnie's really confused.
Yeah, okay, Minnie, do you want to make a roll here? You also are in this scene. If you want to jump in.
I'm gonna have Minnie try and figure it out because Minnie is they don't understand the tension. They don't understand why some people are talking about
Why?
everything should be excellent right now. Everyone should be happy, except for the people that are down there. But they're doing okay now.
I will point out each of you has one move left, and you don't have any rerolls banked anymore. So if you make a move, you might want to make a move that your particular character gets a shot at making a reroll for. Just a suggestion. Now, that's just a suggestion.
I don't.
You can feel free to ask me questions. You can feel free to if you want me to propose solutions, you can, but you're stuck right now. You got to figure it out. What do you want to do?
I'm just I'm trying to figure out a way to fix it or struggle with tech somehow. But
well, there are some possible ways that you could one, you could attempt to get into the air ducts and go somewhere else. You could try to drop in on Kevin and the Costners. Two, you could try to remotely lock some doors or open some doors, like open the doors to where Kevin and the Costners are, although you're not sure that would be a good move. You could try to open comms with the room outside of control so you could keep talking without the door in the way. You could try to fry the door so they can't hack into it. You know that there's the possibility they could wedge that thing open, but this is a very strong glass door.
I think Minnie likes the idea of trying to communicate with everyone. There's a bunch of people outside. Wonderful. They want answers. So if we can we'll just turn on comms out there so we can talk to everyone calmly and just solve the misunderstanding, whatever it might be.
The answer is in chatting. Of course it is. Okay, great. You open up comms. You want to try to open up comms. What do you have that's going to help you do this?
Okay, so I've definitely got my multi-tool.
Okay.
And it doesn't work.
You're leaning hard on that thing.
I know.
Freddie looks really stuck right now.
I
think you could probably help Freddie out by giving him the chance to just talk to people.
Yeah.
He's always known how to talk to you.
Yeah. Freddie has remained calm and been able to talk, and Freddie understood that, we had to help people and do things.
Yeah, and Freddie's always been nice to you. You guys play chess.
Yeah.
So, Freddie, you think you can help? Freddie's going to be able to do this. He's going to be able to talk to people. It's going to be great. Now, what else do you have that's going to help you with this? The multi-tool? You got anything else?
Just the drive, won't back down.
Never back down. In this case, you're not back. This is not an issue where you're having to stand up for something. You're trying to figure out. You're like, okay, I'll open up the comms. Everybody will chat. So I don't think it applies here. That would be my argument. But you feel free to just, if you've got a good one, you can be like, no, here's why it works, and I will listen.
No, actually, I do kind of agree with you on that one.
Freddie, since you have a bond, is there some way you could help him?
I also feel like I could lean into the can't let go, because Minnie just doesn't understand. He can't let go of the fact that
that's
going
good
on and he can't figure it out.
Well, it's worse than that. You have that completely logical, but really in this case you don't have the right data. Mm-hmm. Your instinct is like, no. Like, everybody just needs to understand that everything's okay. Mm-hmm. I just need everyone to hear the information, because then they'll get that everything works. Freddie can tell them, because Freddie knows how to talk to people. I sometimes don't know how to talk. So yeah, I totally see this. Okay. So give me the roll. That's 3 dice. And if Freddie wants to throw in something, you might be able to get a 4th on this. Do the 3. Roll it.
Yeah.
Roll it. I want to see this happen, because you get the reroll. You've got a reroll on this one.
I'm gonna have to use it.
Blow it once.
That's a 2, a 3, and a 3. So I'm gonna have to use that reroll.
All right.
Oh, beautiful! Yeah. Excellent. It's all hanging on a reroll.
It's all coming together.
1, 1, 5.
Oh, nice.
Oh my goodness. I felt I was nervous. Okay.
Had to build some tension.
You patch comms through. What do you say? So you work it. Here's the problem. Ready? You managed to do this, but as you're wiring things, there is backlash from the there's feedback, and this is the issue. Ready? You do patch it through. However, the comms are patchy now. They're garbled. There will be a -1 die to the next move made to communicate by comms. Freddie, you have the ability to talk. Minnie, what do you say to introduce him on comms? Like, what do you say when you get the comms going? All of a sudden there's like static, and like there's like, you can hear like all these garbled bits of comms from people who are trying to use comms, and suddenly like there's a little bit of clarity, and Minnie's voice comes through. What do you say to the entire station, Minnie?
Oh, hi everyone. I know that there's been some quiet going on, and before you all jump in and make too much noise, my friend Freddie has something to tell you all that should calm all of you down.
Oh boy.
I want to hear how that patchy works.
This is so good.
Freddie is literally as white as a sheet right now, just totally pale. All the colors gone. Just Freddie, you're holding the mic. All of a sudden, the chatter dies away.
Hi.
And you feel like you're staring into the largest ear in the universe. Like the entire station is listening.
This is the best.
All right.
Freddie goes, all right. That's a pause.
And he like silences his calm to everyone else and says it just so people in control can hear. He goes, "It's okay, Freddie. You're great at interacting with the people. You can do this.
You always know exactly what to say to me."
As assistants helping Freddie with whatever is happening next, hopefully.
Oh God.
So at this point,
Wonderful.
I'm continuing with the whole thought process of minimizing the loss.
Okay.
And what I'm really trying not to let go of is our crew. You know.
It's big.
You know, at the end of the day, if the rumors are true, you know, if they're not, regardless, all we have at this moment in time is ourselves. And very carefully, I am going to openly talk to both listeners and Cosners.
Okay.
And openly admit that I have been on the fence about both. And say that I know everything is beyond troubling right now. I know that we are afraid we won't make quota. I know we're afraid that we'll be stuck here another year. But we have each other. We're a family here. And if we destroy each other, then what's the point? Home's not worth going to if you have to live with that.
Oof.
A little comma appears underneath one of Minnie's eyes.
T.
T.
Double T.
Double T's.
Okay, that was beautiful. I really feel bad that the patchy comm is losing you a die on this. I think the ultimate success of whether this communicates or not is not going to be due to the ineffectiveness of what it is that you had to say. It will be entirely due to the patchy comms if it goes wrong.
Yep.
What do you
It's
have
all in the
that's going to help
gremlins
you make
now.
this roll? Yeah, that's it. What do you have that's going to help you make this roll? Give me the tags you're using.
I'm going to do the eye for detail.
Okay.
Trying
Focusing
to...
on what matters most.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The data management in terms of keeping words concise and easy to
Only
share.
the most necessary data. That's 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you get here because you lost the third. If you have the third, you lost it. Do you have one more you could have used? That'll keep you at 2. What would be the last one that you lost?
The last one that I would have lost.
Yeah, the third tag that gives you 2 dice. Because if you only had 2, you would only get 1.
I just am really leaning into the I can't let this crew go. They're my crew.
This is the hold on. Let me see. Where's the tag? You had a good one. Hold on.
The memorable hair.
It's not going to work on comms, sadly. Yeah, minimize loss, can't let go, and then data management. Those 3 will work. You're not letting go of this crew. Yeah. So that gives you 2 dice total for three tags and a beautiful speech. I am.
Is it only like does the help not allow an extra die in this one either? Is that how the?
You just made your move. I'm not sure that you can leverage the bond at this moment.
Sure.
You want to try to throw in the extra die? Throw in the extra die.
I mean, okay.
Minnie gave you the intro.
146.
Which one was the 6?
Didn't even use your reroll. Okay. There's a moment where the comms stay quiet. And then from the mines, you hear Trilby's voice. And Trilby goes, "We all go down together." And then like there's a murmur on main comms. And almost everybody in the station repeats back, "We all come up together." And there's this moment of calm. And then you hear Tobias on comms. And Tobias says, "Why is the ore room locked?" And there's this moment of pause.
dun, dun, dun.
You guys have gotten back into the rovers and you are headed back. There's one move left on this clock. And that last move is going to have to deal with the last problem, which is the honesty. You have just agreed that everyone's calmed down. The danger of riot has calmed itself down. So we can fast forward a little.
Mm-hmm.
This is where, so Freddy calms the entire station with an honest plea. For taking care of family. For not having anything to regret. Okay. Everyone has calmed down. Now I'm going to say you guys are back in the hangar, the docks. You're unloading the rovers. Everyone's taking off their suits. There's a lot of it's kind of quiet. The diggers are quiet. Trilby and the listeners are there's still some bad blood there, but you get the feeling they all feel like they just dodged a bullet. And a lot of them are looking at you in a different way. Just to be completely honest, Dawson, there's this sense of Dawson held it together. When we were losing it, Dawson brought us back. And so there's a couple of Hatch claps you on the shoulder. Trilby gives you a listener salute. She does this thing where they do this. They go I'm listening to your heart. And then kind of taps you a little. But as you're walking out, you guys are sort of all suiting down, and a few people have come out to greet you. The station's ground to a halt. This is the thing. There's no work. And as you're walking out, Dawson, a sort of crowd of people have come out, and somebody goes, "They're all holed up in Central," and somebody else goes, and there's somebody, they're locked up downstairs. And there's a little bit of a murmuring. It's clear everyone knows something really serious is up, and there's rumors flying around about what might be happening. Trilby and the others, by the way, are treating Sadie like she's royalty. They're kind of leading her. They're keeping close to her. Evan is trying to go with them, but is sort of they're not shoving him away. And Sadie is not looking directly at him, but is not also ignoring him completely. Okay. There's something weird about the way they're treating her, though. Okay. There's a little bit of deference. It's different. Okay. Up at Central, are you guys gonna open up control now that you've made your plea, and it seems to have worked?
Now that everyone's calm, Freddy, should we tell them the good news?
Oh boy.
Yeah. By the way, when Minnie says that, Shell looks at you and goes, "Yeah, no, I'm all ears." She goes, "Me and the listeners both." Yellen looks over and goes, "Don't tell me there's something else. I can't handle anything else today. Can we be done, please?"
Minnie looks around
looking at you again, Freddy,
and just looks back to Freddy. When he's doesn't understand why this is.
Do you want to go ahead and talk to him? You can go ahead, Minnie. Go ahead. Spill some beans.
You know what? You have the floor, Minnie.
Yep.
You are amazing.
Freddy just is "Yeah, I'm done. Go ahead, little robot. Tell it like it is."
Honesty is best policy. Data is data. Share it.
Woof. Okay, there it is. Minnie, would you like to spiel at Yellen, or are you spieling on comms?
Well, Minnie has realized a few things.
Shell just asked. Shell said, "I'm all ears. Yeah. I'm listening." Shell literally did the thing. Shell told you that she would like to know. She said, "Please tell me what's going on."
Share.
Seems pretty direct.
Minnie's
Even you understood
Minnie knows
that.
Sometimes, okay. If because Yellen's a little confused. So before I just tell everybody, maybe I tell Shell and Yellen, and then maybe Yellen will understand.
What do you say?
So I go, okay. So One of the other med bots called me into the vat room because they found something different there, and what they found was someone had put together a contraption that had increased the food and oxygen and gas growth, so that way we wouldn't have any food loss and we would have excess oxygen.
Yellen kind of raises her eyebrows, and like Shell's like, and Yellen's like, that's the best news I've heard all day.
Yeah,
It's not been a great day for news.
I
Well
know.
done, little bot.
Yeah, the only thing, all it takes is a little bit of the ore to help charge this thing.
Okay, that drops like a bomb. Immediately, Yellen's like, and Shell sort of goes, oh. Yellen turns to the door and goes, do you know about this? And she opens the door. Tobias is sitting there on the ground. He's actually he's got this really terrible habit of he has a little bit of a moonshine still. Nobody knows how he manages to get it, and he's taking a little sip. There, he's passing it around. There's some other listeners sitting outside, and the door opens, and he doesn't even look phased. He just kind of looks up. He's old, white haired. It's patchy. He's got a lot of scars from digging, and Yellen looks down. And she goes, "You did this, didn't you?" And he goes, "What's that?" He goes, "What's that now?" And she goes, "This ore thing." And Tobias says, "Well, we've been listening, and we heard some things, ain't we, boys?" And there's a little murmur. And he goes, "Some of
I
them
heard some things too."
turned out useful." He says, "Y'all ready to go and see Kevin now?" Dawson, you and the rest of them, you've been kind of pulled in a surge along the hallways of the station. Everybody washes up in front of the ore, the storage area where they keep the ore.
Yeah, that makes
the
sense.
door is double sealed. There's nobody on the outside of it, but comms are open.
Like,
some of the people in the crowd outside are starting to like mill about. There's all sorts of crazy rumors going on. The hallways are packed. People are not violent right now, but there's definitely this feeling of like, what are they doing in there? What's Kevin doing?
yeah,
And yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'd be like, so it's double sealed. I'd raise the comms and be like, anybody know why the ore storage is totally sealed up?
Kevin goes, "It's sealed because it's been breached. We have saboteurs on board. The quota has been affected.
So,
If anybody was hoping to go home, somebody on board has decided that you won't."
is this open comms or is this
Open comms, whole station. He heard everything you said, and he's been waiting. There's this huge murmur. There's like a little bit of like there's a little bit of like what, and like there's some people are crying in the background. You realize that like some hearts just got broken. Like they were holding off until the actual arrival, and like there are other people who are like shout. Like there's a couple of shouts. There's some like yells. A couple of listeners are like, the listeners aren't saying anything. They're real quiet right now. Anybody going to respond to Kevin? Because there's going to be a whole bunch of open comm chatter in a couple of minutes.
Kevin,
Dawson, I don't know if you realize this. This is your move. You guys can talk a little bit to set Dawson up, but whatever is done, it's Dawson's gets the final move.
Kevin, I suggest before anything, we talk as a station before we act.
Kevin says, "I accept that as a very rational offer." He says, "So let's go ahead and talk. You out there, Tobias?" Tobias says, "Oh, I'm listening." Kevin says, "You did this. You and your people took the ore. You took our last ticket home. You took my family. You took these people's world. How dare you?" There's this murmur of anger that bubbles through the crowd. Tobias says, I understand how you're feeling. I can hear how angry you are. Kevin goes, you have no idea, you sanctimonious. And like, there's a swear word that comes out.
Mhm.
I won't use it. There's murmuring, there's yelling. Tobias says, so there's a long silence, and Kevin says, all right, now I'm listening. You got anything to say for yourself? For what you did? What you did to all of us? The people you stole from us?
So,
There's
did
a
Mini
lot.
have access to the data at all about the quota when they've been doing any of this?
Well, in Control, Freddie had access to it. If you remember, Freddie knows how much there was, and Kevin and the Costners went down to do a physical count, because the numbers were so low. Tobias said, I understand what you're feeling. He says, let me explain something you might not know. We got enough on this rock to keep every single person here, even the ones as ain't born yet, alive. This has been a big struggle, by the way. There are folks who have gotten pregnant, and the first births have been occurring on the station, and nobody's quite sure how to deal with it. The stitches have been a little taxed with it. It's something that happens, and it's been a serious cause of concern, because population levels have to be kept low. Kids need to be taken care of. You weren't set up for this. It's partly because some of the drugs, some of the prevention that you had on station that everyone was using, it's run out. You have not gotten your re-up.
Yeah.
And that's part of the stress. This is also why some of the rumors came about the lag, because the last arrival was missed. That's why there's so much tension around this one. Anybody want to get involved here?
Minnie will ask Freddy, because Minnie's trying to throw logic here. It's like, well, if they might have taken the ore, but if the quota's always been short, if the quota's going to be short anyways, no matter if that ore was there, then they've just, even though they took some, it was for a good cause that would allow everybody to feel more comfortable. So Minnie's trying to play.
Hatch yells, he goes, it doesn't matter. We could have taken the ship. All we need is for them to land. We can get everybody home that way. If we got to take it from them, that's what we do. A couple other people are yelling. Tobias says, there ain't no ship coming. And there's like a whole bunch of like Costner says, Kevin says, because you took the ore. And then there's more murmur. Somebody's going to have to come in here and either make a discovery or figure something out, or network or something, because this is starting to escalate again. It's not going to come into open violence, but you're pretty sure that there will be something broken in the culture on this station unless you can figure out how to resolve this back and forth.
It's you, Dawson.
Nobody's seen the tech. Nobody's seen any of this. There's a lot there that's sort of missing, yeah? So there's a lot here that everybody doesn't know.
I was going to ask, did
you could try to get cost? Yeah, go ahead.
Did Minnie tell everybody on comms about the tech that was in the vats, or was that just locally? I forget.
That was locally. He has not actually said all that stuff.
Okay.
He told it to Hatch, and he introduced Freddie, who said some very noble things that were not about people using ore to grow stuff. And then you said that locally. Yellen and Shell were like, holy crap. And they were like, don't say that. And then Minnie patched through, and Freddie said, not that, but yes.
Okay.
Here's the reason. We all need to focus. Yeah, and gave the station a unifying moment.
Fair.
So the problem you've got here is you still haven't resolved the core issue.
Nope.
And the core issue is some people want to go home, and it's not clear that they can. If you knew they couldn't, it might change things. Some people want to stay because they've given up that other life and they feel that they have a better life here potentially. And they're believing in this new tech, and not everybody knows that either. So the question becomes, what do you say or do, or what do you need to reveal in order to at least get everyone working together towards some sort of resolution, some sort of compromise? Or at least, get Kevin and the Costners out of there and talk, into conversation and unarmed. Then they can yell at each other all they want, as long as they're, not yelling at each other with weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if I knew about the tech, that would be different, but I don't.
So,
Dawson, you mean? Minnie's right there. Like, you guys are all crowded into the hallway. There are bots hanging from the ceiling right now. The bot chatter, Minnie, has been really interesting. The bots are all observing this like it's an experiment.
Of course
They're really unconcerned. Yeah, they're like, wow, this is really weird. And they're taking all sorts of data. This is like, and they're cross-collating it. Some of the bots have proposed that this would make a really great study. And if they ever get the chance, they'd love to see if they could publish some of this data for some of the online bot-related journals on organic behavior and psychology. Because there's always an interest in quantitative data on psychology of
Minnie
organics.
will chime into the bot chatter and be like, maybe I will insert some more logic to see if the situation can resolve.
So,
some of the feedback is from the bot chain is like, wait, let them develop. Like, how are they going to resolve it without any help? Like, if you just help them, they're never going to learn. It's like, I really want to see what they do by themselves. Like, they're really not going to figure it. Like, why can't they communicate? They have open comms. It's just like us. Like, they don't, there's like this feedback of like, no, I want to see how this goes.
Just grabbing the popcorn.
Yep. They literally are hanging from the ceilings and kind of watching.
And it's just like torn between. What? Like maybe he like.
You can do what you want.
Maybe he slips.
They wouldn't.
Maybe he slips in and out of binary a little bit into the communicating. It's like, but there's plenty of food for everyone. Like, everybody can get what they want.
There's a little bit of chatter. Some of the bots are like enough students of human behavior that they're like, well, but that seems like it doesn't give some of them what they want.
But eventually it would.
Some of them don't want resources. Some of them want that intangible thing. They have some emotion they want, or they want to travel, and they want to connect with certain other organisms, and they cannot. So there is still a fundamental difference in needs or wants.
Maybe there's more properties.
And they're citing like classic studies of like group conflict and like all this stuff. So there's like, they're cross-collating stuff. They're all like kind of bantering about it. Some of them actually do. You think they have some sort of concern that things might be bad. You wouldn't call it like they're worried about people, but it's more like they're concerned with this ending badly. But there's also too much confusion among the bots about what organics really are going to do. So it's part curiosity, and it's also part like, I don't know. So like, we could screw it up either way. They do weird stuff. They don't act as you suspect them to.
I'd be asking around like, so if there's a deficit of ore, I don't see where they're hiding this. Like,
Freddie, you could fess this up.
I know where it is.
Oh, what? Actually, that's not just, you're not the only person who says, like, people are crying, people are arguing. Minnie says that, and a whole bunch of heads turn. And like, there's a little bit of a like pool of silence that forms around Minnie.
Kill
would you care to continue?
Minnie's not used to this much attention and this much silence with attention either. So it's kind of like, well, someone found a way to use the ore.
0-0.
Someone found a way to use the ore to produce more food. It's at triple the efficiency right now.
Where is this?
And maybe if they did that, maybe there's other properties of the ore we haven't figured out.
Well, okay, but where is this machine?
Tobias cuts in on Allcom and he says, it's in the vats where we put it.
And that's when I start running to try to beat the crowd to the vats.
There's a surge in the crowd. All right.
basically I'm going to run there, and I'm trying to get as much rational data about what's actually happening as possible, and trying to beat them to the vats to figure out what's
The rational data part, that's going to be tough in this crowd.
Yeah.
You know that Minnie wouldn't lie.
Mm-hmm.
If Minnie said that, it means Minnie believes it to be true, and Minnie doesn't believe things that aren't true very easily.
Yeah,
About
no, I mean,
machines.
About machines.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna try to get to the machine and do what I can to like scan it or something before they destroy it.
Well, you are a Stitch. You don't know if it's going to be destroyed. You're not sure what people are going to do. People are yelling. People are hollering. You managed to get. I'm gonna let you have this. I'm gonna let you get down there. And here's the problem: when you get down there, you see Evan and Sadie sitting right next. They're like Sadie is holding onto it, and Evan is right next to her with his hand like he's like with his hand on his back, and he looks a little stunned. And when you get down there, they both look up at you, and the crowd kind of surges in behind you, and you're sort of standing there looking at Evan, and Evan goes, "I didn't understand. I didn't know." And Sadie goes, "It's all right. I didn't tell you. I should have." And he said, "I could have listened better." She nods, and she goes, "You could have." They look up at you, and Evan says, "It's true. It works. I took a look. The output's high.
Mm-hmm.
We can stay." Somebody in the back goes, "I don't want to stay on this bloody rock." Somebody else yells, "Get us off this thing!"
So, okay, what were you going to
This
say
is the
there,
key.
Freddie?
I have an idea, but I know it's your
Freddie.
move, so I want you to go ahead and do your thing, man.
Well, let's discuss a little.
No,
bit
give him the idea for the move. Yeah,
because I have some ideas on
this
my
is
own.
the thing. It's collaborative.
Hatch already gave an idea, right? We have more time than we thought we would. We know the arrival's going to come. Why couldn't we just take the time to plan and take a ship? The people that want to leave, they can leave. The people that want to stay, they can stay. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got your compromise in the sense, we just need the people to come over here with the ship.
But they won't if you don't meet quota.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why don't we fudge the numbers for once?
Because the
Freddie's like, like, I have to lie about numbers? I don't do that. That's a possibility. There's another one. If you knew the ship wasn't coming, that would also resolve the issue. You could easily make a discovery here if you wanted.
That was kind of what I was leaning towards, was rolling for making a discovery.
That's the other possibility. You could do one or the other. What's it going to be? Where are you going to put your chips? You could try for the compromise. You could also decide that you're on your own in the vastness of space.
That's also true.
You get to reroll a move to fix it, to heal, or make a discovery about biotech. What you're looking at is biotech that is hooked into the vats.
Yep, that's what I was thinking about, making a discovery there. Or trying.
Do it.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to look at this device that Sadie and Evan are hanging off of and see if you can make a discovery? Okay. What do you got that's going to help you with that? Remember, you have one injury, so you can get 3 dice, but then you're going to lose. You get 2 dice max. Okay. That's the bottom line.
Let's see. Definitely eye for detail. And I might be able to do some things with a bioscanner if there's organic matrices on it. And then
there is life involved. That'll do. That's 2.
And I'm also really wanting to. Basically, I'm trying to make everything work out. I think that I might be able to do this for a leading exit so that everything doesn't end poorly.
Are you making a discovery? You're going to tell me what you find out about this stuff, or are you going to figure it out and ask me?
I think
Zero sum.
zero sum. I think I'm gonna go for making the discovery.
Yes, thank you. Author it. Let's see what you do. All right,
Let's
you
see
got
how
2 dice
poorly it
and
goes.
1 reroll.
Yep.
You got
Let's
this,
go.
buddy.
Let's go.
I believe in you, dice. You only usually work when I GM now. That's gonna be a reroll. That was a 2 and a 3. And
so quick.
another 3.
Oh no.
Oh. So
Under pressure.
tell me what you thought. Tell me what you thought you were going to find out.
I was hoping to scan to see if, like, the ore itself is some kind of life form that is steadily reproducing so that we could satisfy both the ore quota and
It
the
is
listeners.
not. So here's what you figure out. It is not.
Yeah.
But you do figure out something weird. The inorganic complexes of the ore seem to interact with organics. It doesn't grow more ore. It does change organic structures. It's changed the algae, and you've all been eating it.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah. So let me tell you how this resolves. You find this out. Do you tell anyone? Do you say anything? You realize this and you have this moment where you're like, wait a minute. The algae is not scanning as fully the way it was. Something's altered about the DNA and the molecular structure. And then you're like, wait a minute. The ore seems to interact with organic compounds in a weird way. Wait a minute. The listeners have all been putting their heads next to that thing. And then you look over at Sadie, and Sadie looks up at you. And you, the other, like, you realize how the listeners have been treating her, and you're like, wait a minute. Something's weird about the babies.
I'd be like, oh, well, that's complicated. Do you know about
Somebody
this,
in the crowd yells, okay, so what's it do then? M34 swings down and says, it has increased algae output by 300%. It provides extra gases that fuel electric converters. The ore is apparently excellent fuel in this device. Somebody else hollers, but we don't have an endless ore.
You're not wrong. So I look over at Evan and Sadie. I'm like, Evan, do you see what's going on here?
Evan says, I don't understand anything anymore. That's the scene we're going to end with. It's going to pull back from that, and I'm going to tell you what happens in the aftermath after you make your resolution roll.
Ooh.
So this is the dramatic moment where the series ends and like pulls back, and everyone in the audience is like, no, worst cliffhanger ever. Okay. Here's how this works. So for the resolution roll, at the end of the game, once everybody's taken their move and you have missed one move, you get to answer a series of questions. For each question that you answer, you get to add 1 die to the roll up to a maximum of 4.
Okay.
So you can take turns. You each have to answer, and you can take turns in whatever order you like. If you look on the trust sheet, you'll see them. So, how did someone build a relationship? Who sacrificed for the greater good? How did someone protect someone else? Who sparked a small moment of cheer, joy, or humor? How did someone prove they could be relied on? And who created a moment of high drama? And you can go in any order you like. And I'm happy to join in here. There's so many glows and so many stars here. Let's go. Who wants to take one of these? The more you get, the more dice you get on the resolution. Go for it.
Minnie definitely created a moment of high drama by
which one?
When they first found out about the ore increasing the food supply and broadcast all that information.
Agree.
With their heart in the right place, but not understanding what that meant.
Hi.
Yeah. On the station. Okay, absolutely. I 100% agree. What else you got? Try to shout some other people out.
I mean, I'd say I'd do the sacrifice for the greater good. I would sacrifice my numbers and statistics to help us out and try and get us off.
No. I mean, I think it's for specific
Wait,
events.
but that's not
Yeah.
something.
Something that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not something that you
Hmm.
did. This is something you would be willing to do. But I want to hear about moments in the game where somebody met one of these.
Oh, okay.
And look at each other's acting. Like look at all the man. You guys had so many good moments.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know. How did someone prove they could be relied on? Nobody wants to talk
Yeah, I
about
was gonna say
Dawson.
Dawson.
Yeah.
We had some moving speeches. Who wants to give Dawson the shout out?
All of us.
What do you got?
Dawson
Okay,
calmed down
great. Dawson.
the most combustible or highest tension, highest risk of something to break out. Dawson chilled it. Just didn't add to the tension. Just literally chilled it. Just icy cold.
Yeah, icy
even,
cold.
Just
Yep.
And realistic. He gave the like, listen, we either pull together or we don't go home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, let's take a minute and have some perspective is where we're at the moment.
Yup. Do we have anybody who protected someone else? Do we have anyone who sparked a moment of cheer, joy, or humor?
I mean, Freddie definitely protected not just someone else, but everybody else
Mm-hmm.
Yup.
with a moving speech to the entire station to de-escalate things for a time.
You guys went hard on the speeches. You really did have like some of the best like but Freddie's speech, man, I got a tear in my eye.
Yeah,
I'm not
that
gonna
one was
lie.
great.
Like I was like I felt it. I felt it. I wanted to can we give Minnie a shout out for like for
Yes.
cheer, joy, or humor?
Yeah, all of the
Yes.
humor for Freddie. For Minnie.
For Minnie, all of the faces, all of the.
He was so
The
proud of
emoticon.
himself.
You were a
They were
good
so
bot.
proud of themselves.
Yup, the optimism and the complete lack of social understanding or nuance.
Yeah, zero deception. Just
Yeah,
wanting to give
abs-
everybody everything all at once.
Telling everyone everything is going to mean that everyone wins. It's great. I thought the relationship that got built that I was the most interested in was the three of you, Freddie. Well, the four. Minnie kind of wasn't involved in the relationship building because he couldn't catch all the social cues. But I loved the back and forth between Yellen, Shell, and Freddie. All of them kind of
Yeah.
trapped in the control room, and all of them kind of
Absolutely.
being like all of them having different takes on like how do we deal with this, and not having good answers, and still being like people with each other.
Mhm.
I had fun playing those characters. It was great. All right, that's 4 dice. Would each of you like to roll a die and I'll roll one?
I think
Can we
I
do it
like
like
that.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sure,
let's
do
do
that.
that.
Let's
That
go.
sounds
All
awesome.
right. So high die is going to win the day, but look, you'll notice there's a different chart for countdown -1, countdown -2, and success. So you missed 1 on the countdown. So we're going to roll on the countdown -1. It means you slightly less. You didn't resolve everything, so there's slightly less chance of making it work. So, ready, set, roll.
I got a 5.
I got a 4. I don't know if you can see it.
I got a 3.
You're missing 1 die.
It's a 6.
Nice.
Yes.
I
Way to
finally
pull it
rolled a
out.
6.
Okay. So, here's the deal. If you look over here, you will notice that we have these 3 pillars: trust, station, and health. If you lose a point of trust, that means your pillar is shaken, and it means if it goes to 0, that's it. That's the end of the holdfast.
Mhm.
Your station is consumed by a lack of trust and violence.
Gotcha.
However, you got a 6. Your pillar is stable, but gain a negative tag. Now, a negative tag means that something about your station is problematic. So systemic stupidity, conspiracy theories, insurrectionist, apostate faith, loan sharking, gambling issues, family feuds, frustration with admin, finger pointing, someone stealing, addiction. I would like to propose that the negative tag that you get, and the negative tag will affect the outcome of your next roll on trust, should you continue going. I would like to suggest that your negative tag is people don't trust the babies.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm digging that.
I don't. Well, maybe he doesn't know, but I don't trust the babies right now.
Just because they happen to have some ore in them. You have ore in you
It's
too.
true.
Let's all remember here, you all are children of the ore now. Take that in. Take that in.
Or are we?
So, or are we?
Sacrifice the babies to
The
the
dad in me
force.
love that.
Or are we?
Well, no, I think it's, or are we? I think, why does everyone suspect the thing that is not human? Like, honestly, I feel like all humans could benefit by being a little less human and a little more something else. Because humans, man, we have a bad rep. Our track record is not good.
Nope.
Like, yeah, like let's splice a little. Let's go. So that is the end of this cycle. Next cycle would be station, and there would be something wrong with the physical nature of the station, and there's another cycle to play through with another introductory scene, more building and looping back in of old characters, another escalation, another clock, this time dealing with actual physical problems you got to fix. And then we'd cycle around to health, where there would be some sort of challenge that faced the ongoing health of the station. Once you play through 3 of these sessions, you then have the option of either, and this is an option, either continuing to play through and finding out what the next cycle happens, or playing the descendants or predecessors of your characters.
That's cool.
So you could fast forward and find out what happens to the generations that come after and are children of the ore. So that's Holdfast Station. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah, that was great.
No, thank you. That was that was awesome.
Right on.
I
had a great time.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I like there's all that chance for collaboration, all that chance for just like to role play, to be something else, and just relationships to be able to use and play off of, and just easy system, like zero prep and easy to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just moved.
Yeah,
as we went. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It was just so easy to keep it going and keep it moving, and not need a whole lot of excess rolls for things either.
Yeah,
I think one of the key elements. Oh, go ahead, please.
I was just gonna say I really appreciate the system and how it's built.
Yay. Which pieces worked for you best? I don't know. I'm open to hearing whatever you have to say. Well, and I don't know if folks are on the stream. I don't know what people are saying. I have no idea how that goes. I don't know even how that works.
So one of the things
I'm not on open comms.
one of the things I really enjoy is how your bonds can kind of telegraph how you're going to roll to a degree, because it brings your characters from being kind of these isolated things that you're playing actually into the scenes, because you're pulling from threads of your environment, and that's a really powerful system. Mm-hmm. But that's just me.
Always a huge fan of because something that I struggle with is nothing in life is always just an automatic success, right? Mm-hmm. I love having that balance of, like, you're successful, but you're going to have these things happen.
Succeed at a cost.
Yeah, and I love that.
Because it's true. I mean, oftentimes there's like successes or things that you succeed on that create weird shock waves.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one of the goals here, design-wise, was to really try to figure out how to make a game where you had to deal. I think this is really a game that was, it was born of the pandemic. Mo and I got to know each other playing games on Discord, and we built this together. on Discord with tools for Discord and for, for Zoom and, for playing online. And we kind of wanted to deal with pandemic themes. So this is a story about being trapped, but needing community. And even when tensions are high, how do you negotiate having to work together, even when you don't want to, or don't like each other, or are feeling like you're out of your gourd? How do you pull it together in those moments, and not as heroes, not as these sort of larger than life figures, but as everyday people who are in a community and just trying to make things work and trying to make it to the end of the day. You're not, going to run off to the next place. There's nowhere for you to go. You're not going to escape. There's nowhere to travel to. And the goal mechanically was to really build a system that was both easy enough to learn on the fly, but also gave you a solid way to develop a sense of community, to have emotional connections. Because that's crucial to me. Like when I work with kids, one thing that I keep talking about is, listen, anything we do, it needs to put character first. Because if character's first, it's a great story. No matter what you're doing, character first, it's going to be an amazing story. So helping storytellers and also players together collaborate to build characters they low-key care about. And they're like, no, I kind of like that person. And I'm like, actually, I don't want them to be mad at me. Or like, yeah, no, I wish they weren't doing that, but I don't want to hurt them. Because that would be a problem too. And like, they're not bad. They're just messed up right now.
Yeah.
So really trying to create a system that takes the violence out of the equation and makes heart and connection and community at the center of how you solve problems and the drama of a good story.
Yeah.
Wanted to feel like, some combination of The Expanse and, several other good sci-fi, but with that blue collar edge where it's really about community.
Yeah, it's just a different way to look at it entirely too, because your goal isn't to beat somebody or get into a fight or anything like that. It's about saving that community and about doing it in a way that's not going to be violent. Being creative, using those relationships and those bonds, just being creative with it as well, so you can find another way to do it, which is vastly different than the popular games out there.
Well, and that's funny because I've played with a lot of kids, and this is partly like this has influenced how I develop educational games. And one key element as an educator, I have ethical problems with creating games where the message to kids is you solve problems by slaughtering people. Because that's, to me, completely unacceptable and unethical. If you want to play an action movie, that's cool. Like, I'm not telling you can't play your games, but I'm communicating things about value and identity and like life choices to kids. It's not a video game. Violence as a choice should have emotional impact, and it should be problematic, or otherwise I'm sending a really problematic message as a teacher, right? As an adult in the room. But I feel that way as a person. I've gotten kind of bored with violent games because I'm kind of like, you know what? It's harder to negotiate. Like, I loved your faces when I stuck you in a place where you're like, oh crap, everybody's really upset and they're not wrong either.
Yeah.
You all were like, what do I do? And I'm like, yeah, that's great. To me, that's a good story. I'm like, that's how you got them.
Exactly.
Because those moments to me feel more dramatic than like a fight. I'm like, a fight? Are you kidding me? You guys are you're going to hit each other until somebody falls down.
Yep.
But if you're like emotionally invested and you're like, no, I don't want this to, that's the moment. And kids feel that way. They feel so strongly. Sorry, somebody was going to say something in there. And I was just like, this to me is so like, I could talk about it all day.
I mean, it's the same thing I love about where the direction Pixar's also been taking lately. There is no villain, right? You're attacking the problem.
Yeah.
100%. That whole let's manifest evil in a humanoid form so we can punch it and feel cathartic about it. I'm done with that. Turning Red to me feels, when I watched that, my son literally, I was so proud. They got to that last scene where they were doing the big boy band concert and the summoning circle and all that, the whole thing. And he goes, it's a drama clock, because he's been in a lot of my stories. And he goes, they've got they got to make sure that they save her before. And I was just like,
Oh yeah.
my heart sang, and I was like, yeah, because we do. It's funniest thing is kids will get really upset in games. They get much more involved and much more on edge when there are characters who they care about and there's an emotionally uncomfortable situation, and they'll all be like, either if they're really upset, they'll X card a moment of insecurity where they won't. A lot of kids who've been raised on violent stories, they'll be like, oh yeah, I punched them. And I'm like, really? But then like they'll be late to class and they're like, oh, I X card being late to class. I can't be late to, and I'm like, so we know what is actually emotionally taxing for you. It's not challenging to face something with violence. That's actually forming an X card. Kids use it like a narrative X card. I kill it to remove it from the story because that's a viable thing to do. Whereas emotions, oh my gosh, that's where the real drama is. And if they can make it through the emotional challenge, I think that builds so much more resilience, critical thinking, narrative intelligence, all these different skills. Then, okay, yeah, I kill it because that's what you do when you don't like something. You just stab it.
It also, especially games like this where it points out a lot of differing views and none of them are wrong. It's just the view sets for the different people and what works for them best at the time are different. So they're coming into natural conflict. And that conflict doesn't have to be physical, but it's still a very natural thing. And
that's a design goal for me.
Yeah. And that's just working with people in general.
Yeah. I wanted to, we definitely were working to try to make a game where you dealt with the problem that problems are hard.
Yeah.
People are not wrong. You can have a bunch of people and they all are right. And they all don't agree.
Yep.
And then how do you make that work for everyone? Or at least make it not fall apart.
Yeah.
Make sure it doesn't break.
Yeah.
Even if you can't make it work.
Yeah, and that really shines on this.
Gentlemen.
Oh, sorry. We're dragging this on forever.
No. I get excited to talk about this stuff, and I realized I was like, I don't need to keep these poor dudes here. I apologize for monopolizing your time.
No, this was a great time. I'm actually kind of glad we had the issues we had last week now because of the time we got to put in tonight.
Yep.
It can run in 2.5 hours, but this one had it had enough juice that it kept itself going for a while. You never know, and that's the other cool thing about collaborative games. The other one big goal is like we wanted this to be able to be run by anyone and to let you build that sort of game together, and like that way you don't have to do any prep. You can come in but you don't know where it's going to go, and that's part of the fun for the GM too, is letting go of that feeling of like I have to get everything ready. It's like, no, you don't. You just have to ask the right questions. And here is the list of questions to ask. Invite your players to narrate with you. Invite them to take the story on. It'll be easier for you and more fun for everyone.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Thank you for coming on and running this and putting through. Thank you for creating this. Like this has been a blast.
Dude, I can't help myself on that.
Being able to collaborate together, like the make a discovery option. Yeah. Where like you as the player throw something into the narrative, like just building on the story. It's a great addition, and if people feel comfortable enough to do that, they can add to the story. And even if nobody does it, just having that option there, if you have an idea, and whoever's running the game can be, like the way you did, just encourage, what do you got? Throw it in here, give it to me. Just to you see like they have an idea. It's like, okay, well, you got something. Let's go. Come on.
You tell me, push me. Let's go. But that's part of it. Like I like having both options with kids. I really learned I feel like kids are great to play with because they kind of like, I don't know, in design, how like they build something for people like a pair of shears that's designed for folks with really bad arthritis. And it turns out to be the best possible design because it creates the most amount of force for the least amount of pressure, and it's easy for everyone to use. I feel like kids are like that. If you design a game so that kids can play it and like build from a very reactive form of play to a very like I'm taking the narrative, we're telling a story together form of play, which is really authorial and gets into all sorts of literary stuff, it works. And I love the dichotomy of like you can flip it. make a roll. You can either figure it out and ask me questions. If you want to sit back, you can. You want to find things out and let me tell the story? Okay, I'll take the weight. But if you're ready and you want to step up and be like, you know what? Do it. Throw a wrench in the works and make something interesting happen, and we'll all see where it takes us.
Mhm.
I love that. That was one of the ones that Mo and I were happiest about. When we nailed that one down, we're like, awesome. So basically you let them pick. Do I want them to do it or do I want to do it? I'm like, yeah. Give your players agency, and they will take the weight from you as a GM. You don't have to shoulder the burden and be a performer for everyone else. You guys can just hang out and have a dope time together.
Yeah, it's way less dance, puppet, dance.
I see people flipping out on social media about like gaming, like running for folks, and they're like losing their stuff. They're like, oh my God, I didn't have time to prep. And like, I'm worried that they didn't like it. And then, they gave me feedback. And I'm like, dude, if you have to give me feedback and I have to worry about what you're going to say, I don't want to game with you. Like, all due respect, and I want to level up my game. But like, if we're not all here to have a great time and do this together, then that's a weird kind of expectation to set up. Like, I don't come to unwind with a posse of people who are like, yes, show me what you've got.
Right.
I'm like, I teach classes, man. I already do that. That's my job.
As they hold up scorecards.
It's like, not quite Matthew Mercer. 7. Like, I'm not paid for this enough to
Nope. No, we do this because we love it.
Yeah. And I want to give tools to people who love it and don't know how to do it. Like, this idea that GMing is this big deal, and you're like, oh no, you're going to run the game. You're the show. I'm like, no. We're the show. We're doing a thing. We're hanging out. We're telling a story together. It's awesome. The system's here to help us do that, but it's not here, nobody's here doing the story. It's not that auteur model. I often feel like 5e is very auteur. It's like, you wrote a story. Everyone else gets to experience it. Lucky them. And I'm like, boy, that's pressure all around. Yeah. So anyway, much love, y'all. This was really fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your feedback. Love to play with you guys again. This was dope.
For
Do you want to share your stuff again real quick?
Yeah, do your social.
So you can find me on luckoflegends.com. I know, right? I'm the show again. You can find me at luckoflegends.com. That's where you see all of my kid-facing stuff. If you want to find me, find some of my more adult stuff, including I got some solo games up and a lot of educational game pieces and parts for teachers. You can find all of that on luckoflegends.itch.io. You can find me on Twitter at lucklegends. I think I have an Instagram and a Facebook, but I don't even know what they are. You can just look up Luck of Legends. I'm everywhere at Luck of Legends. That's Perfect. It. So yeah, there you go.
Yep.
All right.
Much love, y'all. Take care. It was really fun playing with you.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. Everybody listening and still watching, thanks for tuning in. And if you're watching this later on, well, you missed it live, but it's an awesome show anyway.
Feel free to tell your listeners, everybody feel free to reach out. I love to talk to people about games. Holdfast's playtest is up free. So it's going to be all fancy with all sorts of layout in the fall when it comes out from Lampblack and Brimstone. But if you want to go kick it around right now, go kick it around right now.
Yeah.
Go do it. Ooh, I also have a version of this called Zero Samurai, which I highly recommend. That's my more literary take. That one's based on the writing of Shinobu Hashimoto, who was Kurosawa's last living writer, script writer. He gave me a copy of his autobiography, and I applied his advice for screenwriting to game design because I'm a nerd. And yeah.
Really awesome.
Literally, I was reading it and I was like, all of this, the way that Kurosawa's team wrote, it's a role-playing game. Like, Kurosawa had like character sheet layouts. He would come to the writing sessions with like sketches of each character and then lists of things like, what's a quirk? They wear their sandals this way. What's something that they often say? Just like a character sheet. And some of the ways in which they wrote together, literally they speak to the gamer in me. They had a character, they had a person they wrote with, Oguni. Hideo Ogune, and they called him Master. And they used to say Master was the only one. He acted as like gas or brakes.
I see.
So it wasn't his job to tell them what to do, but when they'd give him a scene, they'd be like, what do I do with this scene? I'm stuck. And he'd either be like, push it this way, or he'd be like, I wouldn't do this. Let's rewrite it. And I was like, that's exactly what a good game master should do. Master of ceremonies. You're not there to tell people what to do. You're there to help them get over their bumps, right? Like, I'll keep the narrative moving. Anyway, so in that one, you play a group of a community. You play a village who has sent away for warriors of some kind. This is not set in Japan. It's not meant to be samurai. It's anywhere you like. And unlike Seven Samurai, instead of having them come back from the big city and say, we've got 7, they come back and say 0.
Oh.
And the game begins when the community realizes that no help is coming. So what do? You can't fight. The bandits or ravagers or whoever they are, they're coming. How does your community deal with that? And it follows the same structure as Holdfast. You go through a scene where you build, you ask each other questions, you build the community, and then you figure out what the community would do to save itself.
That's
so
really
yeah, it's
cool.
0 prep. It uses the same system. And that's up there too.
Nice.
It's like $5. Yeah.
Very
Anyway,
cool. Yeah,
that's my last plug. I promise. You got me excited again.
I'm definitely excited to play more of these games, dude. They're great.
Right on. We'll have a lot more coming out. Mo's working on Holdfast Horror. I'm going to be putting out Holdfast High School because I love Holdfast High School. You can do it with superpowers. You can do it with magic teens. Go. But you're building your community, right? Who are the teachers? Who are the kids? All that good stuff. Anyway, I'll let you know as those things come out. Thanks again for having me on.
Okay.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
Big time.
thanks for coming. All right. To everybody still watching, we'll see you next time.
Yep. Stay legendary, folks.